Hey guys, I'm here with my friend Dalton Miller. We are here going to be breaking down the Cowboys defense. Um, I want to do something a little bit different this episode and kind of go through the third down stuff rather than just doing the Commanders game. I wanted to kind of take a look at what are they doing? How is this working? You hear all these things about Micah Parsons and what he does, but I wanted to take a look for myself. And so I wanted to bring you along. I know you're a big Cowboys fan. I appreciate you coming all the way from Portugal. I know it's late there. So if you got to bounce for any reason, I totally understand. But before we really get into this, I kind of want to hear your thoughts. Well, first, introduce yourself, and then I want to hear your thoughts on what you've seen so far this year, where you think this thing can go, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Dalton Miller. I'm the lead NFL analyst at Pro Football Network. I am a Cowboys fan. I would call myself a realistic Cowboys fan. Most would probably say I lean on the pessimistic side of the fandom. But, at the end of the day, I try to be as even-keeled as possible when it comes to this team, because I do have to try to cover all 32 without too much bias, at least. So, this defense so far, I think, has been fantastic. I thought it would be good going into the season. It was really good last year. And when we look at, how defenses are able to carry over from season to season, we've kind of seen that production can go up and down, and it can be very different from season to season, but it all kind of comes down to, who you face in the regular season, what quarterbacks you are playing. It takes a big emphasis on how you're going to produce. And I think that we're supposed to get some pretty decent quarterback matchups throughout the season. And, outside of week 1 and 2, where you had Joe Burrow in week 2 and obviously Tom Brady in week 1, you've had Carson Wentz, who has regressed kind of back to the way that he has been in the past few seasons, and Daniel Jones, who might not be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year. But overall, against Brady and the Bucs, I felt like they played better than I expected. And, I think I've seen a little bit more versatility in the defensive backs this year and in the coverages that Dan Quinn is using. And what's really been fun for me to watch is just the amount of D-line games that they're playing, and that they're doing it not just on, obvious passing downs, but you're seeing guys move around on first and second down, and guys are really playing well off of each other and keeping gap integrity through that, which has been fun to see. Ooh. I can't hear you for some reason. There we go.
I'm muted. So you get into a situation where, let me get this going here. Oh, now it's not going to work. We had it going. It was working fine before, and now all of a sudden it's not going to work. You saw that we had this before.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm playing around now. I'm having a good time.
These are the technical difficulties.
Well, we'll switch. I'll switch to another stream here in a second, but I was going to draw, but we'll save that. Sorry about that, guys. So, what is interesting to me is watching Dan Quinn, and maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was more of the thought of him being in Atlanta and what you were supposed to see, and what you think of the Seattle stuff that they do. But you would have never known that they were in that defense watching him coordinate now. So I'm really interesting. You said about some of the coverage stuff. What is the noticeable difference? Well, I'm gonna let you take this away while I try to figure this damn thing out. There we go.
There we go.
I got to change brands or whatever the hell that means. What did you see here? Let's just go. You know what? Let's just go here. Make it less crazy. What have you seen from him specifically that you see is really different? What stands out to you?
Yeah, so I noticed when he had given up defensive play calling in Atlanta, and you started to see, I believe he brought Raheem Morris in to be the DQ, to be the DC there for that last season. And you saw a little bit more Tampa too. When they actually played the Cowboys that final season that he was the head coach, they played almost exclusively Tampa 2 against Prescott. And you saw that a ton in week 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And in week 1 against Tampa, you saw a little bit of Tampa 2 as well as quarters. He does like to, when he gets matchups like against the Giants and against the Washington Commanders, where he went into, a little bit more cover 3 and cover 1. I think that when he looks at an opponent and he has a little bit of arrogance to him, if he thinks that his corners can cover these guys 1v1, he's going to line up in C3 and C1 and just say go. And he's going to have a little bit more fun on the defensive line, bring, 5 and 6 at times. He doesn't love to blitz, but I think against guys like Daniel Jones and Carson Wentz, he felt safe blitzing those guys. So I just like that from week to week, he's shown that he's able to adapt. They try to run some, match quarter stuff early last season. And Jaron Kearse, safety, who is hurt right now and not playing, had some trouble with some of the match stuff and some of the communication, and they really got back into the groove of not quite what you saw in Seattle, but kind of what it turned into last season, which was a ton of cover 1 and cover 3, which in this scheme, a lot of cover 3 teams now are passing stuff off. That is not the way that it looks for the Dallas Cowboys. You will see in their cover 3, you'll see Trayvon playing off and actually following guys on deep crossers. So it is a match, but there is no passing off. So that's why you see a lot of the times you'll see these in breakers in those situations and get a lot of yards against these two corners in Anthony Brown and Trayvon Diggs. And they're just cheap yards that you give up and you're okay with giving up in those situations. But that's kind of why you see the narrative that you do surrounding Trayvon. And yes, he's a bit of a gambler. He does make mistakes at times. But a lot of these yards that they do give up are gimme yards.
Yeah. The cover 4 being too hard thing, I'll never understand that. I taught quarters to a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on a blacktop in 45 minutes with all the calls. So I hear these NFL guys, oh, it's so hard. It's actually less difficult. So zone coverage, you drop to a spot and then you have to squeeze all these different things and do all these different things based on when the quarterback's looking and where the back is and all this stuff. In quarters, there's 4 things a receiver can do. He can go vertical, he can go in, he can go out, and he can block. That's it. Now, he can go vertical and then in, and vertical then out, but it's a vertical stem. And you drill those 4 things every day. I don't understand what the problem is. The more difficult stuff's to the underneath defenders, when to take things back, when you can pass things off, that sort of thing. But I listen to NFL guys say that, and I'm just like, I know I'm not Vince Lombardi or anything, and if I can teach it, how can these guys not get it down? It's so simple.
And do you think it's just the speed of the NFL game that makes the difference in this? Because we see college guys do it. I mean, it's everywhere. So I wanted to answer the question from the QB School, which is obviously one of the best YouTube channels there is. When he was talking about what are the gimme yards, he's asking me. For me, it is, the play action dagger looks that you get, or those deep crossers that you see against cover 3, especially when it's ran against the Cowboys, because they're playing with outside and deep leverage. I mean, they're just giving away the interior, especially because in those play action situations, because the backers aren't getting depth in their drops, because they have to respect the run. So for me, those are what I call the gimme yards in their cover 3 scheme.
All right, well, let's get into it. So one thing that's interesting to hear you say that Quinn doesn't like to blitz, because they did a lot of different things the first 4 games. So let's take this from the top. So I have filtered out. So it started with 3rd down, and then get back on track, which is 2nd and 7+. And then if I saw any similar things that were good on 1st down and obvious passing down, so I took out 12 personnel, I took out 13 personnel, I took out 21, 22, all that stuff. And it's not every play, obviously. I mean, they had 150 snaps a pass. I threw in a few snaps of 2-minute. He definitely has a different flavor down the red zone. So this isn't like a comprehensive, like every single play, but the number one coverage in those obvious passing down situations is cover 1 with a blitz or a delayed rush. So they're playing no rat, rushing 5, and they don't always rush 5, but they're not. When I say rush 5, cover 1, I'm saying there's no rat. So the 5th guy might be a guy that stands there and looks at the quarterback, so he's not technically rushing, or he's part of some elaborate twist, or they pop a guy. But a D lineman that's dropping to 5 yards and staring at the quarterback, that's not, to me, he's out of the coverage. He's not going to rat across or take a crosser across and let the guy fall off.
Yeah.
So that was their number one. So let's jump into this. So I tried to group it all together. So here's versus the Giants. You're going to see a theme against out of all this. Okay, for the most part, the 2 looks you're going to see, really 4 looks. I'll extend it to 4. So you're going to see some sort of double mugged, or let's just call it 6 up, right? Because you can group these all together.
Yeah.
Where all 6 guys are up. Okay, you're going to see it where it's like a bear look, a mug, a single mug look. And again, it doesn't mean, if I say double mug, I'm meaning 6 up, meaning they could go, D lineman, backer. It doesn't matter, right? A single mug where you're going to get, and it could be, they'll do stuff where they'll, overload and cheat this guy, but you're going to see the 5 linemen covered and then somebody behind or somebody not behind, whatever. You're going to see your standard 4 down. And then you're going to see a combination of 3 down with a guy kind of walking around. I think the NFL guys, some of them call it a spinner. From an offensive standpoint, that would be something, JT, maybe you could fill us in, because, how they classify things is different than defense. Because when you're on defense, you don't give a shit about classifying things and putting it into buckets. To a point, you do. But, you're not like, oh, we have to put all our double mugs in one family and they have to call them this. That doesn't matter. We just don't care. And things oftentimes build off of each other. So you'll put something in and then you'll tack on something later on. And then, keep going from there. And then you'll see the last kind of thing I'd say is just walk around, where everybody's just kind of walking around. All right, so you'll see here, not quite in single mug. Again, it's close to single mug with the guys shaded, but there's the 4 down and the wheels walked up, or I'm going to say the wheel, the mic, whatever. You'll see that obviously this is nickel personnel. Okay, so you cover 1, and I'm guessing this is what you're talking about with the gimme yards, where the dude's playing off. It's 3rd and 10 on the 38. What's the score here? 6-3, 3rd quarter. So, you're giving up the short throw. You think it's 5 down. Yep, 4 down territory. Simple coverage, simple game up front. Tackle them short. Still a 50-something yard field goal. From the end zone, it's standard fare. It's cover 1. They're matching the safety up or whoever on the tight end. You'll see a lot of these games. If you watch my Belichick 5-0 presentation, it's a lot of this. You'll see, out, around. You'll see in, out. You'll see they don't really run a lot of the interior games. So here they run a little stunt, pick stunt with the backer. Nothing too crazy, but you're going to see this a lot. That's their number one really 3rd down concept. Now, I need to zoom out here. I hope this doesn't affect anything. I need to get the down distance. So this is 1st and 10 here. Same thing. You got a TE stunt. Add a guy late. I love this. This call can be really good away from the back, because what you do is you get this guy to lock on the man and then you bring him around. You want to do this away from the running back. God damn, Saquon Barkley. All right. So, that's not Barkley. All right. So you'll see something like this. So they're going half man, half slide. They're bringing this guy across. You know, they're obviously focused on Parsons. He takes a step inside, and now 42 can run around the edge right here and force the throw. A lot of that stuff. Here you get a pirate stunt, so you got a single mug. So now they're in dime. It's 3rd and 14. They're in dime. And it's there was some certain personnel group with Parsons. Parsons looks like he's a little outside, but you're going to see single mug. So you got single mug front with a guy inserted for the running back. So it's pretty straightforward. Man, thirds. Or not third, but middle field. And they're just saying, hey, you know, if this guy's going to block a lot, he's not going to go out. We're going to play a game. We're going to try to keep him in. You know, just play some man. And again, these are the gimme yards. All right, we're going to play off. You're throwing the ball to your 4th weapon for a 4-yard gain on 3rd and 11. We'll take it. And you can see, let's watch the end zone. And feel free to jump in anytime if you see some stuff with the stunts or anything personnel-wise. I'm trying to see where Parsons is every time.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to alert, and maybe you could help me out here because you know these guys better than I do. I'm trying to spot for when Parsons and Lawrence are on the same side. So Lawrence is 90,
like here,
right?
Yeah. Yep,
So
Lawrence is 90.
So you know these guys, they have to 5-0, and this is where getting in these things is good. So now you 5-0, you walk this guy up, so he's now got him, and now you're forcing these two guys to block Lawrence and Parsons one-on-one because this guy occupies the center, so they can't fan. Now, what they could do if they wanted to get insane is tear out to this and have him insert.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is if this guy starts to go around and he just loops in here, now I guess you could say, well, we'll pick it up with these 3 guys, but you're letting a guy go over the ball. And I've seen teams do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but they're going to work their game away. This is, what did Belichick call this? I think it's called Ram. Now, one thing I will note, these 3-man games, everybody does them. But Rob Ryan worked for Bill Belichick when they did a lot of those games. I know that, right? He's on the staff, on the Cowboy staff.
He's a consultant.
He's a consultant because I saw him on the film. So when he was the defense coordinator for the Cowboys in the late 2000s, there's a playbook floating around, and he has all those games in his playbook. I would be willing to bet that a lot of these games are like his ideas because he used to love this stuff. I'm not saying he invented them. I'm not saying that he's like nobody else does it but Rob Ryan, but just as a gut from seeing some of this stuff, I'm like, this is 100%, not 100%, but strongly believe it's Mr. Ryan. Okay, so now we have one. This is a little different. So you got cover one. I snuck this one in here. So you got an odd version, an even version of the odd with the mug. No, actually, it's odd.
And just off that last play as well, they will at times delay 24 and just bring him as well too. They did. I don't think they did it against Cincinnati at all, but they did do it against New York and against Washington.
That makes perfect sense because Cincinnati is known for trying to get 5 guys out as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to try and not do that because you're afraid if you try anything bullshit, he'll snap out of there and you're done.
Yep.
All right. So now we got an even version of odd mug, 0 free pack. I don't know what I think I'm tripping out here. All right. So this is dime personnel. They're doing the walk around here. Now, so the walk around is good for certain things, but sometimes you want them to set the protection.
Oh, and this is when they had Gallimore on the outside too.
Gallimore?
Yeah, they got their defensive tackle out here on the edge against Thomas. I thought this one was interesting too.
Is he susceptible to bull rushes? Or why they put
Thomas,
him up there?
or not Thomas, Neil. I don't know, but
I don't know what Neil's trying to do. Is he trying to like cut him late? I mean, I don't know what that is. I mean, they get the ball off and get a completion. I put some stuff in here that, it's not always perfect, but
yeah. And Neil struggled in this game, especially against Tank. But yeah, I thought that play was interesting just because I hadn't seen Quinn have a defensive tackle playing wide like that before.
now you can see here, this guy is not in the rush, but he is not in the coverage. So he's going to come down, he's playing the back, and then he's acting as a spy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dropping down with outside leverage, you're going to get a lot of that. So you kind of steal a guy. So he's half spy, half looking for low crossers, half going to play inside. That allows him to overplay these outside routes so they can't just do this down the sideline.
Do you know when this was? What part of the game?
I can go back to the scoreboard. So this is end of the first.
End of the first, okay, because I know DJ kind of beat them up on scrambles and a couple quarterback draws in that game. So it would make sense that they were trying to spy him.
Absolutely. All right, now we got double mug. We got a whole lot of shit going on in here. I shall see. So you'll see this a lot. They call this Abbey protection. A lot of out of 3x1. You don't really want to do it out of 2x2 as much, in my opinion, because if you move this guy up in 2x2, they can bring a safety out or a nickel or safety somewhere off the edge. With this guy in, now I don't know if he's going to release or chip or whatever, but there's only certain looks I think that you want to do this versus. Like if I was game planning protection, and let's say the back was over here and the nickel, let's say it's 2x2. So let's say this tight end's over here and the nickel's over here and he can rush like the guy from the Chiefs. It would be a cold day in hell before I would walk him up in here because of that. That's just my own, again, who the hell am I? But I'm just telling you, like, where I would be really nervous about doing some shit like that. You'll see this a lot where they'll cost protect because that's a better angle for the back than stepping straight up into that.
Mm-hmm. It's a better matchup for him, too, because LVE is not a very good blitzer.
Yeah. I wonder if they do that, if this is saying, hey, we're going to cross this, or, hey, we're going to say 42's this guy's more dangerous. We're going to slide the mic to him and let him come back across. Meaning if these two backers were switched, I wonder if he comes over here and they do the same thing. Or
they might just because of the angle, but I do know LVE is definitely less dangerous than Barr is as a pass rusher.
That's true. I forgot that was Anthony Barr. All right, so more cover one. We're gonna get a double TE. So this is what you're seeing. They're setting up now. High school guys that are watching this that come in here and say like, well, how can I learn from the NFL? This is such a different game than me. Okay, I've talked about this before, but if you know me and you talk third down with me, you know I love this shit out of the odd front. If you don't have great defensive ends or you don't have a good interior pass rusher, get in here with the backers, run your games, do whatever. Okay? And this is where scheme shouldn't – brains needs to trump scheme. So I'm at Clovis in 2019, and this guy right here is a monster pass rusher. And I realized I am putting him in a shitty situation so I can have my backers do a bunch of stupid shit, but he can't. He's pass rushing from a zero, which is awful. Unless you're covered both guys up with D linemen and you can just make a move one way or the other, not a great place to pass rush from. So you can see what the Cowboys do here. Now I know this is a D lineman who's walked off, but just pretend it's 3 down. Pretend that's a lineman, that's a lineman, that's a lineman, and then these are backers. If you have a really dominant pass rusher, put your shittiest linebacker over the center, put your other backer over here, and put your nose in a 3. Now you can get all the same stuff that you want, but you're not sacrificing. You can let him win one-on-one pass rushes. So, just a thought. They get some real funky fronts here. Same front. They have the spinner here. This is great coverage with the freak accidents. This is a 20-yard gain. They're kind of flushing him. There's a lot of odd mirror concepts where they're breaking the pocket and letting the second level go get him. I've talked about that at length. I watch this right here. I mean, this is just neither guy sees it. Great coverage from here. Oh shit. He springs the guy open, catches it, falls down. I mean,
And they called that OPI.
They did.
Yeah, they called that OPI.
I think that's unfair to the Giants.
I think it was too.
I don't think he sees him.
He sees him at the very last second and just turns. So it looked like he dropped a shoulder on him, but I don't think he ever saw him.
No chance. I snuck in this look. This is more of a run look. I just wanted one snap of this. If you've followed me, I've done stuff. I talked about the tilt front before. The Y goes back into the core, so they line up. They're playing cover one, normal cover one, just lined up over defense. And then you'll see he gets back into the core, so the Cowboys see it, and they shift into a half a tilt. So what they're doing is they're going shade, 4-eye, 6, safety. It looks like a safety on the linebacker, or the safety on the linebacker. Yep, the safety on the tight end. So you get half the tilt to the weak side, trying to dent that front side play. End up pulling it and throwing it out there. But I just snuck this one in. I like that. You could tell it's a check.
Mm-hmm.
What this does is when this guy slides back, this cancels all the gaps over here. So you can let these two guys really rock back this way. It's just an interesting way to defend this. Something to think about. Normally you'd have a linebacker or a lineman here, a lineman here, a lineman here, and now you have a safety in the fit. So this is a backer, right? You have a safety who's not used to fitting like a linebacker. So now he's going to be responsible for the A gap. How do you avoid that? Well, get in this front, move him over here, and just say, hey, you leverage the ball on your inside shoulder, you leverage the ball on that shoulder, and this is how it works. So if they were to hand it off, boom, boom. Ball gets out there. All right, last snap of one where they're bringing pressure. This is one of my favorite blitzes, and you'll see this path show up a lot. It's just a simple bear plug. So you're going to get a bear front, final bear front. I think maybe they don't get bear in this look, but they're going to do something where they bring the nose one way, usually bring the inside backer to the back. Now, against Fournette, that's not really, Fournette's stout, so maybe not what you want to do. But you'll see this show up a lot. And this is going to be, you get double drop here, so it's really only a 4-man rush. And they complete the pass, but you're going to see that pass show up. All right, let me do a quick comment check. Yeah, no, nothing there. All right, so the next thing that they like to do is Tampa 2. Mix in some 2-minute stuff in here. This is traditional Tampa, all these snaps. Then we'll go to some other coverages, and we'll come back to the funky Tampa stuff. So this is just 4-man rush or a simple, maybe they'll bring a backer or whatever with 3 down. Tampa 2. You'll see some funky fronts here. One thing that you'll see a lot, what they'll do is they will line up in 1 high. Now this kind of gives it away because you've got him here and him here. They're all kind of staggered. But they're trying with these guys up like this is they're trying to show you that they're playing cover 1. 1 high. And then they bust out the Tampa 2. And then that's just a crazy sack. Not just from the end zone. There's nothing much in the coverage there. They're just using a stand-up free technique now. This is a teaching tape now. Obviously, this guy's a freak athlete, but this is a teaching tape on don't get past the depth of the quarterback. Gives him the ice pick, strip sack. He turned that from, I'm going to get cussed, like right here, I'm like, oh, he's going to get cussed out in film. And then he turns it into a hero play. Bang, knock it out, ball. Here's another Tampa sack.
And that's their NASCAR package with their. I mean, they have Micah for that as well, but it's Micah, Demarcus, Dorrance, and Fowler, and that's a pretty good 4 group for obvious passing downs.
You'll see those guys in the draft that get picked in like the 6th round or 5th round, and they're like, he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that, and he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that, and he's light in the ass, and he's got the chicken wing, and then but you're like, but he's really fast off the edge. This is when you put those guys in.
Yep.
2 minute, they have good endurance. Maybe they're not the best pass rusher on the planet, but I'd rather have a worse pass rusher in 2 minute that can play all the plays than have a really good rush from one guy for 2 or 3 plays and then he's dying. Like, these are your crazy special teams guys. These little backers they'll put in and they'll do shit. Now, these guys not as much as they got a real line. Some of these guys are like putting these, especially in college, you'll see these guys that like this is their one job.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really fooling anybody. I'd like to see more of a disguise here. Because they're kind of half in, half out, right? Like they're showing 2 in the box. He's kind of down here. It just doesn't. I'd like to see, and I know if they don't play it from there, that's fine. But I would like to see it more like this, where he's there and he's back, and then they pop it late. I don't kind of get this disguise. Unless you're just trying to say, let's take away the one on, let's just show we're bracketing Chase no matter what. But they didn't bracket Chase a lot. And then this monster takes it out pretty quickly. I mean, he's not even getting to the back of his drop. I mean, watch this. He hits the back of his drop. He sets his feet and it's already done.
And I like what you said about the disguise there in the secondary, because you have the mic going to that side no matter what with the vertical. So you don't really have to worry about the safety getting out leveraged by that outside receiver if he's forward.
And if you do this down and he's back. Now I know why they're not doing it. It's because Agent 1 is down here. So they're just trying to show like, hey, we have coverage over him. That's my guess. Because you'd want to disguise opposite. You want to we start that sentence over again. You want to disguise like it's cover 3 or 3 buzz or 1 or whatever, where you're down, you're here, and you're back, because that's how it would look in 3. Or if you're Nick Saban type team and you would walk him out, bring him over, and bring him down, then do that. But they kind of have like a half and half kind of look to it. You could tell they were really worried about Chase. And they didn't make him pay with this guy in the past game, I don't think. All right. Here's a walk up, a walk around Tampa look. So they're back now. This is 3rd and 13. You back up a step. Now it's still close. Yeah. I thought the score was different. I don't know why. Because usually they just line up like this when the score is more far apart.
Yeah.
Playing with fire there. It's 3rd and 13. Like, if you're keeping score at home, like sit down and don't go until this guy starts to get right here.
Mm-hmm.
You give him depth. I mean, he sits at the stick and catches that. I am cussing you out.
That's really where you would like to have Jabril Cox on the field instead of Barr. But they're just pretty much playing Barr instead.
Here's a 3 down odd walk around. So you have 3 distinct threats, and then you get these guys. Now, obviously, he's your biggest guy. He's your biggest threat. So this stuff's cool if you're got multiple threats, but if I get it. Like if you're going to do this, but he just kind of stands and walks around here, and it's like, guy, I think we know who's rushing. They do a good job of passing that off, but it's 3rd and 14. So they get 8-9 yards, still punt down, still punt team. Let's watch this again. The Tampa's 2 stuff that they do, I haven't really talked a lot about the coverage so far because it's been man. It's been straight up man or it's been spot drop zone. He's going to drop to a spot. They're going to drop here. I want to watch what they do with this guy. Oh, no, it's regular Tampa. Now, the thing that I don't understand, how these guys play Tampa, and I'm not a Tampa expert. We've done it. But it's one of those things. It's like, we kept it very, very simple because of what we use it for. But here's what I don't understand about Tampa. Now, I know it's 3x1, and he has 3 down the pipe, so he has to kind of stay inside of 2. So I get that part. But I see this in 2x2 a lot. Because you still got, really, all you're doing is you're saying, okay, you're either treating this, and if it's empty, maybe it's they're dropping differently in empty. But I see this in 2x2 sometimes too. But this guy keeps sinking, even though he's to the passing strength, and then they get this guy out here and he gets yards.
Yeah.
Like in 2x2, imagine this guy doesn't exist, which all he's doing is he's chipping and then getting out late. So he's basically the same thing as a running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, should be inside. And then if this guy is opening up to you and his eyes are this way, oh shit, he can be more shallow and let him play, especially if the back has presence to you, because they're just going to try and high-low you in the back. Take away the lane and then drive on it. Like, I don't understand why you have to keep backing up. And I know it's 3rd and 13, so they're trying to get some cushion. But in this 4-down league, especially in that fringe territory, like, you think he'd be a little bit more aggressive. But, he makes the play. They get it down. Sometimes I look at this stuff and I'm like, what? The reason they'll walk this around, somebody asked a question. Why do they have the 3 technique? Great picture, by the way. Why do they have the 3 technique walking around? I think it's because if you look here and you're in a typical odd front, they're going to sort this. Now, what they do is they chip it. So they can half slide this. He's going to stay there. And that's what you'll see. You'll see everybody turn because they're sliding to Micah, right? And then this guy chips on him. So they got the line sliding to him. So it doesn't really do that much. But let's talk about regular protection. Let's say this back is free releasing. This tight end's going out. He's not staying in. Now, if you give this look, you're going to have to go into more of a man look. Now, some people would say with this guy being the threat, and our protection experts, if JT's in here, he may have a different answer. But you may say this, hey, look, this guy's the threat. So let's slide this way. Now, this is with the back in the backfield. It's different with these guys. I'm just saying, imagine the back is here, and then he's going to play anything if this guy goes, and that's the matchup you want, right? So you're going to slide to 92, get him on there. But sometimes if those guys are out of there, and if you give like a mug look or whatever, where they have to man up, they feel like, okay, it's 5-man release. We got to man this up, and now multiple guys are walking around, and they hit it. That's why they do it, is to try to confuse if they're trying to man protect. We would use it in high school, we would use it just to screw with 17-year-olds' brains. That's really, there's nothing really more to it than that. Like, those guys would be, these guys are pros. They'll track this stuff, and they have all sorts of calls where you get in high school and you do this, and it's a disaster. All right, so we got a TE stunt and an ET stunt, I believe, here. It's late. I don't know if Micah decides just to come inside late, or he predetermines this, or this is part of a stunt. But they get the sack here. So let's watch. They're showing one high. Again, it's kind of half and half.
And you're right. They do this a lot, especially Micah, and whoever he's playing with on that side of the ball. But I can almost never tell if they're Yumiing before the snap or if the defensive tackle is just playing off of whatever Micah does.
I think here he plays off of it because he would be much more punch, grab, and go.
Yeah.
The fact that he's kind of playing through, and then you could see him, because what you tell this guy is rush, keep your head out of it, and if you see color flash across your face, go. I think if I can find that right here, he's looking.
He's already, yeah.
I'm guessing here. I mean, it's this is definitely, you could see the predetermination here. This is definitely predetermined, right?
Yeah.
Dumb question alert. What was the scouting report on Micah coming out of college? I knew he was a great linebacker, but was he this dominant edge rusher in college?
No, so
I don't remember any of that.
I think he rushed in college off the edge like 40 times or something like that altogether. Okay. He was a defensive end in high school. And you saw like a couple of flashes with it, and I think I was a little bit more bullish than other people, saying like, hey, this dude can rush the passer. But I mean, when he was drafted, we thought he would just play linebacker, and we thought he'd be an off-ball guy, and that's kind of how it would be. And honestly, I don't know how much edge he plays if you don't have Randy Gregory and Tank get hurt last year. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise, because then they had to throw him down there. And obviously that's where his value is. So it was cool to see last year him not really playing the position since high school and being so good. And then this year you can tell he's definitely better technically. You could definitely tell he took an off season to actually rush the passer. It's been a lot of fun to see his growth there.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
And it's funny because he's got 31-inch arms. He's short arm guy, and he's still somehow he's able to get into dude's chests with relative ease, at least easier than I thought he'd be able to.
Interesting. So here's a little bit of disguise. So you have the safety. They're bringing the nickel down. They're bringing the safety down. So it looks like it's going to, because they'll do this a lot in base downs. Well, they'll bring the Sam up and bring him, and then they pop out and play Tampa here. We're still talking about the Mike being the middle runner, or the Will. We haven't gotten into any funky stuff lately. Got any funky stuff yet. Now you got 2 minutes. I mean, this is where I think he gets out of bounds, but he gets 5-6 yards. It's not really a deal breaker, especially when you're backed up that far. All right, let's watch the end zone here. It looks like we're just watching the front here. It looks like the center wants to take the protection of 42, and Tommy wants it to go to 55. I just called him Tommy. So everybody at Sarah calls him Tommy, and I'll let that fly occasionally on accident, and I feel like a dipshit because I didn't know him when he was a kid, but all of his friends and everything that were around, like, oh yeah, Tommy. So you can see what's the center. So they fake the count. 70's like, all right, no, we're gonna go over here, and Tom's like, no, go to that guy. He's like, go over there. He's like, all right, fine. I think that's honestly what happened. He's like, no, I let me do the protection, dude. I got this. All right, last snap of traditional Tampa 2. Did I accidentally let a 12 personnel get through? I am really sorry, guys. They're playing nickel though, so now this is a good disguise. Because they'll do this a lot. Like I said, they'll bring the Sam, they'll bring the nickel to the tight end. In this case, there's 2. Like, they got me here. And then, see ya. I was like, oh, shit. And then it's sawed in half. This is where I laugh as a former high school and college, small college coach. 1st and 10 and 12 personnel. What's this? I'm not going to worry about going back, but 1st and 10 and you're running Tampa 2, 12 personnel, and you get the sack. Don't ask a boy to do a man's job. This is where I don't understand Zach Taylor sometimes. I know Mike is good, and you got to go to slide to him and everything, but you're going to look at the left guard, the left tackle, and the left tight end working together. Bumbling idiots. And I have is that Jonah Williams from Alabama? Yeah. I have a soft spot for him. He went to Folsom High School, so I saw him in play in high school. So I have a hot spot. Wow. Soft spot for him. Wow. A soft spot for him. All right. Moving along. Now we have the offensive coach was called 11 Rover. This is just what I call one cross. Okay. So again, this is a coverage that is it's truly 4 men rushing. You got a guy eating up a block here, and he has the back. Now, I saw a lot of this for certain teams. So, and again, this is my uneducated guess, right? Because I didn't study this. But some teams respond to mug stuff, single or double, by trying to get the back out and win with the back. And some do it by keeping them in. And that's one thing I learned from hanging out with Ron Roberts was it's the difference between like horizontal and vertical thinking. Like some coaches would say, okay, well, that's Barkley. Is this Barkley? Yes, that's Barkley. Oh my God, we got to be ready for him out of the backfield. We got to be ready for him out of the backfield. Let's put in this coverage and that coverage and this coverage and that coverage. This is an example of solving a problem. Instead of directly solving it by covering him, if you think a different way and say, well, if I get in single mug, they're going to keep him in. So then I'll actually show blitz to cover him, if that makes sense. Like you're solving the problem a different way. So you're just going to get one cross. One cross for you guys is man, 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 man. And then one of these safeties is going to go play the middle of the field. The other one will play here, and it'll be different depending on the team, depending on the opponent, depending on the tendencies. So I'm just going to say right now, 3x1, most of the time, I'll say most of the time, backside safety is going to play here. And 2x2, then some guys will do it. If it's a big shallow cross team, you'll have the guy away from the back. Like if you're going to play an air raid, he'll be the dropper, and he'll play out. Sometimes it's the guy to the back because, again, they want to do this. There's a lot of, it depends on the team. Now, you're going to start to see the picture form here. A lot of quarterbacks, this is important, okay? This might be the most, from a learning perspective, this might be one of the most important or poignant things I say tonight, okay? Hopefully, out of the 3 important things I say, this is one of them. No, I'm just kidding. Weak safety here, right? A lot of guys are going to try and read this guy. So you're going to see in the package, and there are certain coordinators that do a really good job of showing a certain shell and getting him to lie to the quarterback. So in this looks like quarters. It smells like quarters. It looks like quarters. These guys are off. So what are you going to do? We're going to try to single up here, right? We're going to try to win one-on-one here, occupy this guy here, win one-on-one, maybe try to throw over the top, a post over their head or whatever, right? You're not going to get 3x1 drive because he is the tight end is number 2. So if this receiver was here and this guy was here, you could see maybe a drive and a dig or something, but not with him as the 3 at speed. So some people will also use this as a check to 3 with speed. I do not know enough about Dan Quinn and how he builds defenses to tell you those sort of things in the history of what they do. But now the quarterback sees, oh, I got quarters with a bare front. And the real good ones can even hold it longer than this. Like the guys, that's what they do, like the Rams with Staley and Morris's first year. I haven't really watched them as much this year. These guys would hold it to the last possible second. Now all of a sudden, you're playing a team. They run a lot of Tampa, so you're trying to get one-on-one with 3 down the pipe and the linebacker. So let's take a step back. 3 in the pipe against the Mike. You're a cover 3 team. So in cover 3, the Will has 3 up, the weak inside backer. So you have Anthony Barr. What did you say? With LVE?
Yeah.
LVE, Parsons. So far, you've seen those guys, except for the cover 1 stuff where they just line up in one high.
Yeah.
They're responsible for 3 down the pipe. So now you mix in a 1 hole, or we call it 1 cross, or a 3-week buzz, which you're going to see. Where now this defender is going to help out. Now in this coverage, you're going to double this guy, right? So you're going to have 2 on him. So now you're playing the vertical of 3 with 2 guys, and you mix all these looks up, and these guys key in this weak safety. It's really, really hard. Now he's way more aggressive than most guys that do this. And why? That guy. Also, I can't really see where he's looking. Maybe we can get a good inside angle. Yeah, there we go. And we got the stripe. So you want to see 3. If 3 is going to come, he's going to start going like this, especially if 3 is outside. That's why the DB is heavy outside. Because if he wants to get it inside, he's going to break inside right now. He's not even waiting.
He doesn't even, yeah.
He's going.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's the weight of number 26.
Yeah, I think it's partially 26, and I think it's partially when was this? See, this is still the end of it. What was the situation here?
Midway
fourth
through
quarter.
The fourth.
Yeah, so Danny's already kind of ran roughshod on him too. So that was probably a secondary cause for him being so aggressive there.
Gotcha. So now you have a 4-1. You got the spinner again. You got these guys. Now this is more effective, I think, but even still, the walk around stuff is actually more effective when you have worse players, if that makes sense. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let's look at Carson Wentz's view. Okay, right here, he's like, okay, these guys are all kind of screwing around. DB, you already said terrible in pass rush, and one of the best interior or edge rushers in the game. Gee, I wonder who they're going to turn the protection to. And these guys are not good enough to make them pay.
Mm-hmm.
He is so much better than both of these guys. You know what? Screw it. You know, you try to because one of the things that you could do in this look, like let's mess around a little bit, okay? So how can we take advantage of them sliding this way? Right? One of my favorites. Here, and he pops and plays the back. Go. Right? That would screw them. Right? But these guys, who's going to do that? Who's going to drop Mike? Like, he's too good to mess around with that shit. You're going to have a DB blitz the outside ass cheek of the guard. I mean, it's not good. What I mean by that is when things are more equal, maybe you don't have a guy like Micah Parsons, but this guy's better than 24 is, and the weight of or the skill gap is narrower. That's when doing this walk around shit is a lot better, because then you can really trick people thinking I'm going to bring this guy. Like, nobody thinks that he's going to drop and they're going to rush 55. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look what they do. That's exactly how they block it. They still almost get in there. That's the weight of how good. That's how good he is. It's like, when they say, "Oh, we know what you're doing. You know what we're doing. Block us." When you have 11, that's great. When you don't have 11, and that's why at smaller levels, lower levels, like if you're a high school coach, and I know, like, I don't know the percentage in this room that's watching, but I know it's going to be some. It's better to sometime watch teams like a Wisconsin where guys are now. Last year they had Leo Chenal, but like where there's a little bit more balance in who's good and who's not, because that's where the creativity comes in. When you watch Alabama, spoiler alert, they're going to rush Will Anderson. Do you know what I mean? So that's where the creativity comes in at the lower levels. Anyway, I'm off the soapbox.
Yeah. Now you don't need creativity with Micah Parsons and Will Anderson.
Right. Now you need well, let me say this. You need creativity to get them one-on-one, but to like, in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to drop Will Anderson. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah. And I know the big conversation in Dallas right now is not paying Randy Gregory and seeing Dorrance Armstrong outproduce Randy. Well, look what Dan Quinn is doing to get Dorrance good looks.
Yeah.
And I don't think the same thing is happening in Denver with Randy.
No.
Now Randy's on IR, so it doesn't matter, but
this is dirty right here. Watch this. Shuffle. Still looks like quarters, and then all of a sudden, keep going. I mean, this is all time right here.
Yeah.
I love this. Psych! And then he comes out for the crosser. I mean, that is just, I'm going to burn him right over the top of the post. Yeah, no, you really are. But I'm now in your throwing lane. I mean, just amazing. Great job. All right, same thing. We got one cross, 3rd and 5. So you're going to probably play a little tighter. You're in the high red zone. We got a funky 4-man rush. So you have, let's go to the end zone real quick just to see how they got to block it. So you've got double mug, but it's pushed out. So you've got A, obviously you can see this B, C, then B, C, D. Okay. So it's double mug alignment, but a little wider. Actually followed this. This is actually run. I don't think this is one cross. No, because that's a safety. Now, is that a backer right here?
Right in the center.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is where the funk comes in. There's your safety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's technically one cross, right? Because the safety's playing he's the rat. And the backer has the back, right? That's one cross, but they're just doing it from low to high. So now you have, is that Tony right here? From the Giants?
I think so. 80?
Yeah. So they're doing a little bracket on him, and they're just doing it from low to high, and he's going to pop out. That's dirty. I want to see this one more time.
Does he? I don't see his head turn at all either.
Is that
Sixes.
6? No, I think he's more of a spy. So
Yeah.
it's hey, no, this is where you got to know an offense is hot. Right. So you show this if they throw hot. If they don't throw hot, then what are their response? Well, just looking at here, I mean, Tony's a little too close to run a slant.
Yeah.
But I can 100% see him coming across. But again, I don't know this is where the shortcomings of this thing is. I haven't studied the Giants offense.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Mike, but I haven't studied your offense. So I don't know what his answers to this stuff is. So he kind of pops. Because the whole thing is, I know where my threat is, so I'm going to keep my eyes on him. So I'm not just bailing out and then he dusts me for a draw.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to drop there, and if his eyes don't match and his eyes are over here, then I can play back into there. Let's just watch 6 one more time. Watch this. I drop here. Now come back. Now go back. Okay, I'm going to throw my hands up. He's like a squirrel.
Yeah.
All right, so here's walk around. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When they say to read QB intentions, that he took that personally. Good Lord. But back to the QB draw, they did motion out to 4 strong a couple times in this game. The Giants did, and they beat the Cowboys a couple times with Jones.
I must have missed that.
They did that.
Oh, because I filtered out the run play.
Yeah, and then Washington did it once in the red zone. They ended up throwing the ball, but Dallas adjusted to it. Look nice.
Good coverage by Diggs.
Yeah,
and he gets the towel.
He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind coming forward to hit when guys aren't running at him. But
I saw him in Alabama practice during the summer, and I thought he was the best looking corner I'd ever seen. I mean, just in terms of like body and like perfect like measurements, and his arms are super long.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen. And he was just dominant that day.
Yep.
And it was just a random like July practice. It was a player run practice. We watched it. Actually watched it from Coach Saban's balcony. He was out. It was when Tosh was there. Me, Tosh, Jake Long from Oregon. We just stood up there and watched because they're not allowed to be on the field.
Yeah.
And he was right on our side almost the entire time. He was just he's unbelievable. And I just walked out of there being like, God damn, that guy's going to be phenomenal. And then he got torched his first year. The first year he got torched or whatever. And then I was like, oh, never mind. So,
that was his first year at corner for Bama when he was playing in the slot.
No. He was outside. He was outside. I'm saying his first year at the Cowboys. It was the summer of 2018. That day he was outside. He was the outside corner, and he was right down underneath us. 80 is James, not Tony. Okay.
Yeah, Tony. That's right. Tony's 89. Forgot he had a bad number.
I was even close. At least I was close. Normally, I'd be like, who is that?
It's a skinny, fast guy.
Yeah, they kind of look the same. Like
Tony's kind of thick, but
yeah, that's
can't tell
true.
Can't really tell from that view.
Yeah. All right, so we got single mug. So I told you some of the themes you've seen. Single mug. The rat acts as a spy. So what I've seen so far, and I don't know this to be 100%, but maybe this is a game plan thing. What I've seen so far is Barkley goes, or he stays and hangs in here longer and then goes. He's not one of these guys that's like, check. Oh, from what I've seen so far in this game, because this guy acts, he's got the bag. He's not too worried about the bag. It's kind of, I mean, he is, but then he drops. Like, you give this much space. I mean, this guy's got a neck roll. I would not be giving him that much space, but he does, and it works. Okay, I think that might be illegal in football. I don't know. Who gets him here? Okay, so the rat. Okay, so we asked the 2x2. So your rat is coming away. He's coming away from the back. Interestingly enough, we talked about what side he would come down to. But now there's nowhere to rat. He breaks the pocket. Go. What happened here? What was that holding penalty? This one's hard because it's, I took 4 games and filtered out pass. Like I saw this game, but it was like a week ago, and I was doing like hurricane prep.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like watching it and I didn't think I would be doing this game because wasn't a Monday night game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do Monday night games because I don't know if I'm going to get the film in time. I'll get the film in time, but I won't be able to like break it down. Okay, next coverage. Oh no. Here's one. This one got lost in here. So here's one. You have an overlifted. So this goes into the overshifted front. So you see this a lot in the NFL where you'll see lineman, backer. That's supposed to be a B. Lineman. But I'm gonna say the Giants, don't kill me. The Cowboys are actually pushing this out one guy, which I think is kind of smart. And then leaving your backer here. This is awesome. Watch 92 here. This is what having great athletes can do for you. Because watch this. To go outside to inside, to take him to go back outside. I mean, you have to have some serious athleticism and contain. And then Burrow sees the hole and he gets 3 yards. But I was just impressed. I get impressed sometimes with how these guys, how they're able to redirect. Now, here's what I want to know. Why not put Barr here? Here. I haven't seen this one yet. Asian 11. Do that. I want to know when that's coming.
Yeah. I want to know when they start getting Jordan Lewis involved in the blitzing game too, because he's been fantastic out of the slot blitzing. But I like some of the stuff that I've seen from them with Barr and Micah both on the edges, and Micah working with Tank. But they haven't done that a ton either. But I like some of the odd front stuff, some of the 5-man front stuff they've done with dropping one of the 2 guys between Barr and Parsons.
So Mark here. So this is kind of a comment from before because we'll get back to Tampa too. You never cover short routes in Tampa. Yes and no. So when and Virginia Tech did this with Bud Foster. Let's just go back here real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. And Derek Brooks used to do this. So what they would do is, it's kind of screwed up because they're not lined up. So it's all this movement. They're not like he should be here. He should be here. He should be back. So my point was this. There's Tampa. There's 2 types of Tampa. Okay. There's Tampa where You'll see them run on third down where everybody's back and then rally up. Yeah, when it's 3rd and 14, absolutely. You never cover short routes. However, the guys that made all those plays like Brooks, what they would do is, okay, and I didn't explain this well enough. In this situation here, this guy has to open to the strength. Now, this is a really good play to show because the passing strength, depending on how you look at it, you could say it's both ways. Now, you could say, well, it's balanced 2 and 2, right? So we want to open to the field, but you got this guy into the boundary, and the NFL, the hash is only 9 3/4 yards apart. So is it worth that extra yardage to say, all right, I know the back's in the boundary. This is where I would go, because you don't want to open up to the boundary. So you would do one of these things where you would open, and then if the quarterback's looking over here, you'd flip your hips and go. My point is this, and this is on maybe not on the longer Tampa downs. What some guys would do is this. The backer would open, and he's facing this way, right? Because he's facing that way, this guy has to sync with him because he can't make an inside play. So basically, in this situation, he is walling 2. He's got 3 vertical of 3. No 3 right here. He's blocking. He's now going to wall 2 to the field to a spot. My point is, because he's overtaking you, you can drop shallower because he's looking this way. And if they throw a bender, you're not going to play it. He's going to play it, right? So what you do is you say, okay, you're on 3 different levels. You pop out and you play Tampa drop, middle drop. You're going to drop out and you're going to be almost at the same depth, but not quite. But you got a wall too. So basically, I'm facing this way. I'm facing this way. And because this guy is going to overtake these seam routes, I can drop shallower and actually make plays on both sides. I wish I could find it. Not the end. This guy right here. Sorry, I drew it from there. I remember one of the Super Bowls, they did a breakdown of Tampa 2. I think Tony Dungy was on the call, and he talked about the secret of Tampa that nobody talks about. And it's the guy that they're opening to and how he's able to go they showed like clips of Derek Brooks, like making tackles over here because he would count it. He was accounting for the seam. He was accounting for this seam. And so this guy could really, if the quarterback stood up and looked this way, he could start drifting over there and you'd see him underlap the Mike linebacker or overlap to the side. Bud Foster, when they did it, because these guys were the Tampa guys, this guy was more straight back. He was straight back. He would turn. When Bud Foster did it at Virginia Tech, he would turn and open. He would kind of sideways turn. And then this guy would like stand right here. He would drop back like 5 yards, and then he could police all this stuff. So yes, you're right. You don't want to drive short routes in Tampa usually, but there is a version, I've seen it before, not even dropping 8, where this guy, especially if the back stays in a lot, you let him kind of police this area, especially if you have a really good running back, and they're just trying to high-low and run these little option routes at 5 yards, and they're high-lowing you because you're deep to short, but these guys keep dropping, that's 10, 15 yards of space. So that was my point there, Mike. I hope that makes sense. Because I kind of flew by that the first time. Sorry, I know that was a long explanation. All right, let's go back. All right. Now we're going to go to 3-week, just 3-week Rip Liz rules. Okay. So the Cowboys, mostly when they play 3-week, some people call cover 6, they're a carry team. So you're going to get split mug. So you're showing max pressure. It's 4th and 2. You bail. You play short. Now this is where I kind of go, what? They have the corner off. Now you better be really damn good at off coverage for it to be 4th and 2, and I'm going to line up at 7 yards.
And they do it a lot.
Because if this guy just stands and turns around and he stands up and throws it, it's a first down. And I don't quite understand that. But hey, they make the play. There was no penalty here, was there, on the inside guy? Or did they throw a flag? No flags? I don't see any flags. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to also say this as a PSA. Okay. I love coaches. They're my favorite people. No offense. But they're not always right. Wade Phillips said on a tweet this weekend, every time it's double mug and they drop, it's cover 3. That is not true. Okay, and I sent him some. I didn't want to be like the well actually guy, but also like if he didn't know of anything and he wanted to use this stuff because he's still coaching, I'll send him over some clips. But we're about to watch. The next thing we're going to watch is Tampa, where this guy's the safety, and these guys pop the top out here on the half, and then these guys drop in these underneath windows. So just a random thought that I had. Like, I don't want to tell Wade Phillips he's wrong, but he is. It's not true. Sometimes you don't know. You're not watching. I don't. When I was coaching, I wasn't watching a lot of other people's defenses. I was too busy watching the offenses I had to play. All right, so we got 3-week carry. So this is the giveaway, right? Weak safety's down. This is what I was talking about, the Tampa thing. Now they get the 2x2, but their weak side rotated, where when they were playing 3 strong and all this stuff, they were pre-rotated down.
Mm-hmm.
Their most effective call on third down, just eyeballing it. These are just snaps I grabbed. So, but I included some completions and some big plays on some other ones. The 3-week carries that I have had more negative plays than anything else, and it's because they hit them with the fastball. 3-week carry, 0 yards, incomplete, 0 yards, incomplete, 0 yards, incomplete, -8 sack, -7 sack, -3 sack. And it's this effect right here where I got to hold the ball. I think I'm going to get the ball out fast because I'm going to out leverage this guy to the flat. And then I got to pump, and then he's trying to throw a ball deep, and that's what happens. Nothing really good. Nothing really interesting going up front, except that they got a safety mugging the A-gap. And this is where mugging stuff is very like, okay, dude, whatever. Shitty blitzer DB. Like, yeah. I get what they're trying to do, but this is where I'm not buying this. Now, you still have to block it because you got a problem here. This guy, Coffee Houses, like fakes it. I don't know why it's called that or whatever. He hits him in the face. I got a 4-2 slide going on right here. Also, running back, you're going to slide this way. You're going to slide away from Agent 11. I would get my ass over here. Because if Wentz doesn't throw that ball right there, he's getting his face ripped off. Same call, same coverage. 3-by-1 against the Bengals. This is 0-2 personnel. This is when you really don't got to worry about covering this dude. And they still get guys. No, so this is when you do it against if a team like the Bengals, they're going to do something stupid like this, and they're going to full slide everything. Tackle doesn't see it. Burrow is hit before the guy even gets his head around. Now, this is the problem with this guy down. And this is what makes this so dirty is they're outnumbered over here.
Yeah. This is one of the ones that stood out to me when I was watching this game.
This is when you kind of have to go against your football coaching. So, all right. You don't want to give up an A-gap play or a B-gap play, but if 11's out here and this DB's in here, maybe let him go. I don't know. Don't let 11 off the edge free. I mean, that's malpractice. Also, that's why, again, I don't understand why you would walk up in this look and worry about blocking this guy. I know you have to, but let him go. Let him rush. To worry about this. Now you can't get back out to the edge. He can't do anything. I don't get it. There's another sack. I'm going to go quicker on some of these plays. This is just regular 3, no real disguise. They're lined up in it. They're just playing ball, token fake. They get the route stacked. A lot of these plays, the routes haven't even developed in the pass rushers from the backfield. Here's Lawrence away. Parsons is now playing off ball. Evan Neal gets run by. Sack. Here's another one down in the red zone against Brady. Micah Parsons just runs by the tower. I mean, that's not. I mean, yeah, I guess it's good coaching. You coach your guys up, but that's just cover 3, playing the sticks, give time for 11 to get there, knock the shit out of them.
Not giving Josh Wells help against Micah Parsons is not a good call. It's a backup offensive tackle too.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
What's Fournette do here? He's
free releasing.
He's released. Man, that's a tough call to make because they were big in that defensive personnel there too. And Micah was really the only true pass rusher.
Yeah. Here's the last snap of 3 week. I know it's kind of boring, but I had to put it in because he got a sack, and it was a third down. It's a 2-minute play. Dan likes to run a lot of 3 and 2 minute. Notice that a lot. Is this a fake stunt? Wait, what did I just? No, it's just he hesitated. I believe Evan Neal actually let him get the sack. Like, watch him throw him right into the sack. Like, here you go. Thank you. Just had water brought in. I'm gonna smash it on my head. Thank you. All right, now we're getting into the fun stuff. All right. We're getting into the fun stuff. We got double mug Tampa 2. So, Coach Phillips, if you're watching, I know you are. I know you're a big fan of this Tuesday Night Football. Just kidding. Here's your Tampa 2 double mug. This is dirty. And what makes this even dirtier is they even bring homeboy down. Oh, yeah? Psych. All right, this is some of my favorite stuff. So this is Tampa with the safety, with the strong safety being the middle read guy. So nickel's going to play the half. Weak safety's going to play the half. The safety that's down is your middle read. One of these guys will be the hook player straight back, or with the back here, it'll be more like this. You end up, because this guy's a safety, you end up basically having a bracket on 2. Now, this is 3rd and 6. Now, if he just turns around, I rant for a minute here. It's 3rd and 8. Just give me like a 30-second rant.
Go for it.
You're the Washington Commanders. You blow ass.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
your quarterback blows ass. Your owner blows ass.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot block these guys. It's 3rd and 8. And watch this concept. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Your fucking receivers are 10 yards past the sticks. The only guy that's in a position to get a ball fast is your tight end, who, by the way, you've asked to chip. So this is the only guy that can catch the ball anywhere near the sticks. Your back has to stay in because you're double mug. But he has to come up and then get out of there. What are you doing? What is this? And then you want to yell about Carson Wentz? Who the fuck can he throw to? The guy that's really deep? Now, he bails them out because this guy gives up on the play. He thinks the play's over, so he starts to come up, and Wentz has to make this throw. It's a 31-yard completion, but what is that? You're relying on this guy to make a mistake. I mean, look at the play design. It's the old 989. Take off, middle read, and then I'm going to chuck and get to the I mean, I'm going to go here. On 3rd and 8, like, what are you doing?
And especially
I know it's cloud. They're supposed to, I'm sorry, real quick. I know it's press, so they're supposed to convert to fades. But my brother, what are you doing?
Especially against a team that runs a lot of Tampa too. Like, I mean, specifically to take that away.
Now they get the now, but these Commanders fans are like, oh, and I'm sure he's not great, but like, also
No.
he bailed you out and got that first down.
Yeah.
Pulled it out of his ass.
And that's Carson Wentz. It's the give and take with him because he can make big plays. I mean, he's a big, athletic, strong-armed dude. It's just that he's always trying to make the play.
I've loved up the Cowboys tonight, so I'm going to give him a little shit. This one's not going on the highlight reel.
No, and that's you've seen that a couple times on tape. If you watched all 4 games, it's not always pretty with them on the defensive front, but you know they get the job done. I liked how Diggs was playing inside shade there too.
Yeah,
it's dangerous if he doesn't carry it, but
they also need to bring these guys more. I know the whole thing, like we just talked about, like,
the double mug.
But if you're gonna mug, you have to bring them. There's only a couple snaps where they bring them, and guess what happens on those snaps? They get a sack.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a PE game to one. So go ahead. Sorry, what were you
at
saying?
the same time? I think it was the great Chris Vasher who said to Ted Wynn on an Athletic article that they only do it about 10% of the time. So if they're bringing them 10% of the time, is that should they be doing it more?
Maybe I need to amend that. Wow, you really called me out live on YouTube. Damn, you were just waiting on that one. You're like, say something about that double move.
I actually saw because I was writing about the Cowboys and their defensive line play. I actually saw that article and linked to it. But
this is dirty as hell, though. This where that now they're both. It's 2x2, so now they're both going to go, and he's the middle read. Or no, I'm sorry. It's the same concept. I apologize. It's the same concept. It's because when it was 3x1, this guy was the middle read and he was your half. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Sorry, brain fart. Now, can I talk about the Falcons for a second? They do a lot of the same stuff, but they play inverted halves, and they'll let these guys go cut out here to one, let these guys cut to 2. So a lot of the same stuff, just presented differently. And I'm not saying you should drop Micah Parsons, and I know they're not a big 3-8 fire zone team, and the few 3-8 fire zones they do are icky. They run, and I know they run them. I'm talking about 3-8 fire zone versus 11 personnel because they actually do run some stuff out of a 12 that's good. That's good to stop the run. Bring a 5th guy, get in a bear, do that sort of thing. I'm talking more because these guys aren't really honoring. I mean, actually, they are. I mean, they really are. They're still getting the Abby. They call this Abby. Bring the guy up and do that. But this is beautiful. This is 3rd and 13. You give 5 across, man. This could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this right here, this might be my favorite look because if you think about it, the only thing that you can't threaten out of this is edge pressure. So, but you have enough in here that you could drop here and bring 4 a true overload from this side. You can bring both backers, drop both ends out. You can do what they do and drop both backers. You can run a game here, and then drop this guy out or drop this guy out and drop that guy out and him set the edge. I mean, there's so much you can do out of this look minus edge pressure. Hell, you could run the one that the Falcons do a lot where this guy hits here, both these guys drop, these A-gap guys spread out, and then they'll play versus this. They'll play these guys here and then the flat, but blitz him behind both of them. I mean, there's so much you can do out of this look. This is a really great look.
And Dorrance 92, who's on the edge out here, he can drop into coverage. He's athletic enough to do it too. Yeah. And I know that they'll do this with Parsons and Barr on the edges as well. And when you do that, obviously both of those guys can drop into coverage. So if you bring the 2 middle linebackers, or if you bring the safety, because that's, like you said, that's another good look. Fan out the interior rush and bring them right up the face.
But one caveat is you have to have guys that can tackle in space. I mean, that's one of the things because these guys are dangerous. Yeah. These Bengals receivers are really dangerous. Mm-hmm. So first I'm like, okay, why would you throw a hit screen on 3rd and 13? But I mean, really, they're one on run right now. This guy ain't gonna get out there and do shit. If he pulls it, throws it out here, no chance. You know, you go block him. I don't know why he goes straight ahead. I guess it's not a screen. I'm sorry. It's just a smoke route. Okay. Why doesn't he go block him? He turns around and then just tries to split it. Especially with this guy going to half. I mean, he's bailing out of there.
Yeah.
But I guess it's hitch seam. So all right, so now they're gonna do it. They're gonna bring a bunch of funk inside, I believe. I hope they do. No, they don't. I'm sorry. I mislabeled this play. Oh, they did. They did a 4-man stunt. I just put in the column a lot of movement. All right, so let's go back. It was all right. So again, great disguise. They're showing three strong. This could be, you got strong rotation. This guy's clearly in the middle of the field. There's no gray area. Like the first time when I was like, I don't like this disguise. This is a great disguise. Mm-hmm. And now you're undressing. You're making them think it's 1-on-1 out here. Now you've got 3/2. Forces him to come back over here. Oh shit. Clock is ticking. Run for your life. Toto, we're not in Baton Rouge anymore. But you can see this. I mean, he's going. I mean, this is why I go insane when I watch NFL teams and they just line up 4 across and a 2 high shell and just play defense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was a little critical about bringing these guys a little bit more, but I'm not. I don't want you to think like, oh, they're so dumb for not bringing these guys. Like I'm just saying, like I would be looking out for that in the future.
Yeah.
But also, if I were them, I would flip it sometimes, put the backers and the Bs. I think you'll see some of that too. Backers and Bs with the 2 inside guys in the A's. Like I'd put Parsons and Lawrence in here in the A gaps with their hands in the ground, and I'd run all sorts of goofy ass twist stunts, pick stunts. But that's a whole nother. I have a challenge for you if you can remember. Look for that throughout the year, and if you see it, DM me. And then because I'm interested. Because as I was watching this, I started making notes like I was going to coordinate for the Cowboys. I'm like, oh, I would do this. And I'm like, what am I even doing this for? Because I'm so used to when I'm watching opponents that I like, okay.
You're doing it as you're the coach.
Think about this. Yeah. Like, okay, they can't pick this up well. And then I had to like stop myself. Like, this is for YouTube. Like, I'm not going and playing the Bengals next week. All right. This is great. I want to watch the coverage one more time. Watch Burrow. Actually, I want to watch from the end zone. I want to see where his eyes go. So he's looking out here. He sees the 1-on-1 matchup. Oh, he looks front side. Okay, so he doesn't look backside. I'm really surprised. I thought he did. That's why it's hard to see unless you go to the end zone. He's looking right down the middle. What's he looking at? Oh, shit. Because that's what I was worried about the first time when I was like, oh, they're showing this way because they were bringing the guy over here and it was kind of like the half-ass look.
At first, I thought he was going hooker.
I thought he looked over here. Doesn't it look like he's looking over there from that?
It does from this angle. I thought even from the end zone, I thought he was going hooker to the front side, but I think he was left the whole way. Yeah, I didn't see his eyes drift at all.
Yeah, you're right. And they took it away. I thought for sure with that alignment he would try to go to an alert versus chase here. Give him the old like surfs up signal or whatever. Anyway, let's appreciate the stunt here because it's pretty good. Actually, no, they actually do a good job picking this up. It's just they gum everything up, then Joe spins out, and then turns into.
It is. I mean, it is a fun stunt still, even though
56. Watch 56 here. The motor on. He starts off over here. Watch 56 and 92.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep their feet alive. I love watch 92 as he's running. He's just like his arms are out. He's like, I got you. I got you this time. Kill. All right. Still one of my all-time favorites. The old bear plug. Bear plug. Whenever I say bear plug, nose going this way, backer coming the other. 2x2. It looks like it's going to be cover 1, and then you pop this in on the halves, and he's your Tampa player. I actually gave this to a major university this year, and they put it in a game. I won't say who. And the guys didn't run it right, and there was a touchdown. It made me sad.
Do they bring? No, okay.
I like it better from depth. I don't like it gummed up in there because then they can slam everything down. The key to this blitz, and you'll see it, it's not as good in this look. You'll see it in other looks here in a minute when the safeties, it's a different rotation. This is much better when you come from depth. Because this they slide. They slide everything. They figure out what's going on and they hedge their bets. They full slide this. Again, this guy sucks. So they're like, all right, well, here's the threat. There's Barr. They're not rushing him, so they sniff it out. Also, this blitz is not good if these guys can't contain through the B gap. So as soon as, because what will happen is, because right now, okay, imagine Parsons is back here. This is how it's supposed to be run, okay? It's supposed to be now big on big, okay? I got him. I got the guard. I got the tackle or the 3 technique. I got the 0. I have the 3. I have the 5. I'm coast to coast, right? So I'm going to play this guy. So that's why a lot of times you'll see him blitz him away from the back. So he has to step in front of the quarterback and go block him. Okay. There's also a cousin to this play. So the first one you're going to see is you're going to see this. And then the cousin to this play is this guy comes up here and he picks the center. He destroys the center. The nose steps this way and then loops behind. Great pressures. These guys are the keys, though. Okay. With those guys in the line, they have to fan this out. Right? If they bail too soon, which happened, I told you about in the blitz that I gave. Okay. This guy sees his guy drop, and they can make a call, and then he'll bang back down in this gap. He'll bang back down in this gap. Same thing happens over here. So what ends up happening is this guy comes and he gets this guy. The guard gets him. This they full slide. So they're just saying, hey, they're treating this like mug because it's like a piggyback. He lines up here, they may get a different call. And this is why sometimes you have to be lined up a certain way. All right, here we go. Last one for the Tampa safeties as is, and then we'll get into another version of Tampa. There's a couple versions of Tampa left. Okay, so this is just kind of a stand-up 4 down with a guy kind of hanging here. You're going to get a TE game and an ET game, Tex and X. Tampa, the safety that's down is your middle runner, so still the same thing. Watch this. This is awesome. Great stuff. Start picking up the pace. I don't know if you guys like this where we're going by topic more than going by like just a game and just letting it roll. I don't know if it gets more boring because we're seeing a lot of the same stuff, but let me know. All right. This is how you do it. Okay. Give my man 55 a blitz. Okay. This looks like cover 1, cover 3, double edge fire zone versus empty. This is phenomenal. So God, I hate this. Now he lets the nose go. Remember, there's no back to clean up in this. Wentz can't get the ball out. I mean, he's about to get hit. He's not in a position. He's in the window. He's not turned around. There's no way for him to go.
No.
I love this blitz so much. I've got so much mileage out of that. Now look what happens when they bring 55. Good things happen. They were so afraid of him that they let 96 go. I'm not an O-line mastermind, but I don't think you should ever let your 0 technique go. But they have to, because without the back there, they have to just say, all right, here, I got him, here, and you have to throw hot off the mic. Or you'd have to slide everybody one way and throw hot. The problem is, and this is where you talk about, this is where the weight of somebody sucking, if he can somehow do a job, right? You got 11, you got 42, and you got 55. Now, I'm not Alex Gibbs, but again, you can slide one way and let one of these monsters go, or you can say, Carson, throw hot off of this guy. The problem is, instead of staying on him and letting him go and then get out of it, He blocks him, lets the nose go, and it's out the gate. But you can see where these guys and how it's important that they don't leave early. And that little step can really, really help. Blitz. Here it is again.
And I don't know if JT's still in here or not, but I mean, me personally, just as a high school quarterback back in the day, I would so much rather just slide everybody left and let that left end come and just work off of him.
Yeah, usually all I'm thinking is they're thinking he's not going to rush.
Yeah.
Because this is the one time, again, you say about if you're a Von Miller, that other quote I had, if you have Von Miller and you drop him, you're an asshole. By the way, was that the quote you were quoting from earlier? Me? Or was that a different quote? Yeah.
No, it was different. You were talking about Zimmer and Eric Kendricks. And talking about, they only do it like once out of every 10 times they double mug, but
yeah. But so what they're doing is they're saying exactly if this is X's on a chalkboard and they're nameless, faceless people in a different uniform, slide. But I think why they don't is that's Barr, right?
Yep.
That's Micah. They're like, they don't blitz him a lot, right? This is where this shit gets really effective. Is the center's like, oh shit, and then that happens. They probably didn't think he was going to come.
Yeah, and still in that situation, you still don't want to leave the zero free.
Yeah, no, not a winning business model.
No.
All right, they do the same thing. Let's see how it plays out differently. Now, that first play was the 7th snap of the game. This is the 41st snap of the game. Now they flipped it. Now they got Barr and Parsons on the same side, and these guys are wider, which I think may give it away. They decide to 3-2 slide this. They got lucky here.
See, this is where you need to bring him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because right here, I'm like, uh-oh. But they bang back because they made a call. They see this guy drop. So I'm supposed to have him. I'm supposed to have him. I'm supposed to have him. But as soon as this guy drops, they can go, 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 go. And now everybody will come back. I'm going to take him. I'm going to come back and take this gap. And then I'm going to go here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now there'll be a side, and any pass pro guys might be, I don't know. They may say, oh, well, that's not true, but they have to almost give a side. Maybe they don't, but if they both say go, 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 it's going to get like an accordion. So it's going to expand, then come back, and then expand again. Because here with Parsons, this is why I don't think it's that. Because watch this. They just double 11. Let me see if I can get a clue pre-snap. See, wish the video was clear. They're pointing it. They're pointing out at Micah. The left side is. But that center clearly goes to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be because he's to the right. If he had stacked, that's why this shit matters. If he stacked and come over here and then they went like this, that might be a sack. Regardless, decent pickup. Was better than the last one. All right. I got double mug blitz, safety drop. Sorry, not double mug. Is this a blitz? I mean, it's an off the ball guy going, and then the edge is dropping. So this is where is it a blitz gets a little more difficult.
I don't think Pro Football Reference would recognize this as a blitz if you're looking up blitz rates on their site.
Pro Football Reference?
Yeah, because they do all the advanced stuff now too, like blitz rates, and they have all that now.
Yeah, because technically, it's only a 4-man rush, but that's where.
Yeah, they have the Cowboys at like a 25% blitz rate or something like that.
Now they actually bring the DB this time. As you can see, not great. By the way, 10 years ago, that guy would have been knocked the fuck out. I saw this. I was like, oh my God. Right here. I was like, oh my God.
I think that at least 2 or 3 times a game.
Yeah. All right. We got a funky Tampa 2 safety, funky front. They're kind of walking around in here. This is a 16-yard completion for Burrow. Kind of the same thing with the bear plug, the plug. It's not as effective, though. They're able to pick it up. Nice throw. All right, I really got to pick up the pace here. All right, we're going to start picking it up for real. I know I already said that. This is hard, though, because there's no flow to this in terms of like the game. So I have to keep looking at how many clips are left because otherwise. All right, this is 3-week buzz. I think, I hope. Yeah, because we talked about this in cover 1. I was saying, and soon you'll see 3-week buzz. So now this is just 3-week. See this a lot in 2 minutes. Here's an interception. Receiver falls down. I mean, that's Oh, it's the end of the game. I'm like, what is he doing? I don't know. I mean, I love Mike Kafka. He's a friend, but I don't understand the wisdom of using your best player to chip all the time. Like, if you're going to do this shit, put Barkley in the slot or something and bring in 2 tight ends. You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. It's another snap of it. Here's another funky front. Let's start flying, my man. It's another funky front. Kind of walk around-ish. Again, it looks like quarters. Ball snapped. Buzz down. And this is where you're able to play eyes here. There's no threats over here. You got 1 threat. You got 3 over here. Nothing back over here because he's your flat player. So now this guy can keep going.
Yep.
And look where he ends up. He ends up being in a position to make a tackle if the ball's caught over in that area, which is crazy. I love when the Ravens line up like this. They'll probably they'll do shit like this. When Wink was there. Actually, I think they would go with 1 guy over the middle, but yeah.
Well, Wink's a psycho, so.
Here's another snap against Tommy Terrific. 3rd and 13. Why I like this, especially out of dime personnel, which you have to run this out of dime. You cannot run this out of nickel because this guy has to run with 2. Is because it's almost like quarters, but you get an extra guy in the middle of the field, but you get it from depth and eyes on the quarterback. So if they all go deep, corners on, let's say they're spaced out, corners on 1, nickels on 2, dimes on 2 weak, corners on 1. And then this guy can play aggressively at the sticks here. So it's like an extra quarter guy. And then this guy can play any home run shots. These 3rd and longs, 2 minutes. It's a really good call. Oh. Good play.
He's been such a great pickup for Dallas the past 2 years. Once he got healthy last year, and then he's been healthy so far this year. Hooker's been great. He's been way more physical than I thought he'd play, at least from what I saw from him in Indy.
Here's quarters. This is just straight quarters now. 2 minute. Get the go balls going 1-on-1 outside. He always looks like he's going to get beat, and then he makes
always. He's always a half step behind.
That's got to make them mental. I mean, right there, I would have been like, "What are you doing?" But the one thing it does is it makes them catch the ball like they can't back shoulder your ass. I mean, that's one thing is, especially against these guys where you finally get on top of them and then all of a sudden they just snap a ball off.
Mm-hmm.
They almost have to. It's almost like you control the route tree more. It's kind of interesting. All right. This is a problem. This is why teams probably don't run a lot of quarters. And I love quarters. Made a lot of, I was about to say made a lot of money off it, but that's definitely a figure of speech. Made a lot of money running this stuff, but this is where it's a problem. 3x1. Corner's got the tight end. Safety's got 3 vertical. And now, is that bar? No, that's not bar. Is it?
Yes.
But yeah, Bar was one-on-one with Saquon. Not great. And because of the 3 receivers over here, Vander Esch has to come out here. There's a void. I mean, he catches that. He's going for a little bit. Here's a little palms variation right here. With them squeezed, it plays more like 2 read. Passing off 3-3 and a 2-3 switch or 1-3 switch. So in this case, this player is going to leverage the first thing to the flat. This backer is going to see 3 go. He's going to work, but he's going to get a call from the corner. He should take this. He's going to take this. And then these guys are going to play in out on the spot 6 or the spot 7. And you can see Diggs really fight to get outside here. Not fight to get outside, but you see him really get his ass outside. There's nowhere to go with the ball. He extends the play, scramble drill. Not really scramble drill because he kept on his route, but you buy some time, they complete the ball. You know, not a lot of places to go with the football there. Quinn has a very distinct pattern of calling plays that you can tell. Or stuff, maybe not, you don't know what's going to happen all the time, but certain situations where you know it's going to be one thing or the other. Or you're not going to see quarters unless it's this, that, and the other. All right, here's a red zone play from the Commanders' quarters again. It's going to be a sack. Good coverage. This is the definition of a coverage sack to me. I mean, there's nobody open. I mean, they got there pretty fast. Maybe that's unfair. But I want to know how much cash is tied into these cats. Oh my God.
This was my favorite one. I tweeted this one out and it absolutely blew up. What Tank does to Nick Martin here is unfortunate.
And he almost gets the sack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me go to the chat real quick before we go to the next set of coverages. I like by topic. Yeah, so it depends on the team. So we picked, because we didn't do the flow of the game, and I had 289, 84, 89. No, it was about that for plays. I had a lot more to work with. There's a lot of examples for this. So I'll keep that in mind. Sometimes it's really easy to do that, and then sometimes I feel like it gets boring, especially if you're watching like a team like the Rams. Sometimes it's like, here's 34 snaps of cover 3, and here's 32 snaps of fire zone. Okay, we're done. Like, it's easier to do when there's a lot of different concepts.
Yeah. Here's
a little twist action. This is like bracket, the quarters bracket coverage. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to answer one of the questions. Here's a question in the chat. Why doesn't Saban like 3 buzz again? He likes it versus 3x1 with the gun strong. He doesn't like it because the problem is it's a hard time to disguise out of it and be good in the run game. So you can do the 3 buzz to Tampa thing, but that's great on passing downs. But you don't want to be in that. You're playing spread running RPOs. It's not good. Your backers have to go weak, and then that gives away what you're doing. If you weak side rotate, it looks the same. So, but Pete Golding likes 3 buzz. So, yeah, it's that question. And no, it doesn't have to do with the A gap fit. No, there's no safety involved. The safeties are out of it. And you also, if you're a spill and kill guy, now you have to teach, like for me, we had to teach our will linebacker to box the ball back inside. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in high school, that's when you've taught kids how to spill all year, and then you're like boxing. There's certain things that are easy to do and certain things that are hard to do. I was about to say that should be a penalty.
Yeah,
Let's watch
that
this
one was
coverage real
definitely a
quick.
penalty. There was one earlier, Anthony Barr hit him, and it wasn't even a slide, and they called it. This one was deserved.
Yeah. Trying to break the pocket here too. They're running. You're going to see in a few plays they're trying to do some of the odd mirror stuff where they're flushing the guy out. I just thought this was interesting because this is true bracket coverage right here, true bracket coverage right there. They're putting the backer on the tight end because they don't send a lot of verticals with the tight end, and the other guy's got the back, so it's more of like it's like the Nick Saban cover 7 stuff, or it could be that fake 3-week buzz, but they come out of the. It's hard to tell. Remember how we showed that one where then he drove back down? It's hard to tell though because
he's not being aggressive with it.
Well, in the ball, he scrambles so fast, and the routes are vertical, and by the time they start to bend, so I put that as like bracket coverage, but it could be wrong. And again, that's one of those things I always say when you watch these streams, big asterisk with a circle around it. Like I'm guessing, I'm doing my best job guessing here. It's not accounting for when guys mess up or because I don't know what they're told. I can only guess.
And that's the thing with defense is it is reactionary, and conceptually it all looks the same, but once you get it in practice, it all can look different.
Yeah. And because, like you said, it's reactionary, you won't notice something's bad unless you get a certain reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if I studied the Cowboys defense all year, I'd be able to see that, oh, this is messed up or whatever. But because I parachute in on these teams a lot of the times, and again, this I watched all 4 games. Usually I watch one game with no preface. Like there are certain teams that I know more about, like the Rams, the Dolphins, the Ravens, stuff like that. But I haven't watched. I didn't do the Cowboys defense this year, or last year, which was a mistake because they were really good. And then I went to do them this year, but then I had some shit go on, so I had to postpone. All right, I got to buzz through this now. If you got to go, I got probably about 10 plays left, 15 plays left. About 10 plays left. I'm gonna buzz through them. I know it's like 3 a.m. there, so if you got to jump off, I totally understand. But I'm gonna roll through. This is the cover 1 2-man stuff. We have some cover 1 variations, some 2-man variations, a little bit of Tampa, and then a blitz or 2.
I'm here. I'm watching.
All right, cool. So we got odd mug here. Well, it's more red zones. They're an empty, so they're showing 1 high. They're playing 1 hole. I call this 1 rat, where one of the underneath guys is the rat. Oh, shit, I put this in the wrong spot. There is no back, so you may see this versus some different things. They're actually not in odd. They're in a putting their 3 technique over here, or their 2 to one side, running a game. A lot of games. A lot of games. Here's a sack. We got 3rd and 5 in the red zone. I usually don't do red zone clips, but I noticed that their red zone defense was very similar to their open field defenses on 3rd medium. So I was like, well, what's the difference? If it's the same shit that they were doing out in the open field, like why does it matter? So same thing here. All this is, it's man free. One of the backers has the back. The other guy is the rat, or if it's a DB, maybe the DB takes the back, but the low guy has the back. The other low guy is the rat. Standard practice. I mean, now it's red zone, so you're going to see him rat at the goal line. So he may bracket a certain person. Right now, he's just standing at the sticks. They stunt. I'll be honest with you. I've been doing this for now a year. And I know maybe it seems outsized because I'm cherry picking just the best plays over a 4-game stretch. But I don't know if I've ever seen a more dominant pass rush in the last 2 years.
It's really good. It is. I think a healthy Buffalo team, once you get Tre'Davious White back, I think, and Dane Jackson, I think that unit with Von Miller and all that depth that they have, if they get creative on the D line, they can be good. San Francisco's defensive front is ridiculous as well, and they never blitz, so they're coming with 4 almost exclusively. And I think that's pretty impressive, just that they're able to cover and still get home quite a bit. But
Yeah,
Dallas is pretty dominant.
now again, standard fare. We got the mug, kind of like stacked mug look. I got the bag. I'm popping out. I know my hot. Tom looks that way. I think it's really bad spacing here. I think this play is poorly designed. You're going to run a slant this close to the formation. You're asking for this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to, this is going to be your audible, bump these guys a little bit. Like that's just, I mean, he's almost over the tackle where the tackle starts. That's not good. With 2 mugged guys. Like that's just, I don't know. It's just not good. All right. So we got a little bit of 1 double. So you're going to see him against the Bengals. They're going to double Jamar Chase here. I'll show you 2 snaps of that. So we got an odd walk around. Seeing them kind of walk around a little bit. Moving around. You're going to see they're going to double here. This is really interesting. Most of the times when you get tight alignments and 2 is on and 1 is off, 2 is clearing space for 1. If you see 1 on the ball and 2 off the ball, 1 is clearing space for 2. Not all the time, but that's the trend. So that's what I'm thinking here. And normally, if you had a normal rat, okay, in a normal rat situation, if this is not Jamar Chase, you would do this. This guy who's going to rat, and this is how you know it's 1 double. This happens on this guy instead of having him try to fight through all this bullshit, because you got it like it's like a bunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let the rat take him and let him fall off and be the rat, right? Yep. And then let this guy man this up and play outside leverage and then play the corner route. Okay. But because that's Jamar Chase, that's the reaction you get. That's not a normal bunch reaction. That's a, hey, we got to stop this one guy reaction. I mean, that to me was the clear tell there. I like this look. They have some fun.
I was just
going to
say
fun
that.
Looks. I mean, again, this is 3rd down. This is 3rd and 6 in the fringe. I believe, yeah, it's 3rd down territory or 4 down territory. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're close enough to kick it. This guy has the bag. They're just counting him in the mug, and it's because Cincinnati at some point has shown they have leverage where they feel like they can cover P. Ryan with 42. I don't know if that is a study thing or they get in the game, because I know Burrow liked a lot of empty.
Burrow loved empty in college.
He was getting his ass kicked. But you can see this guy has a dual purpose. He is now going to take the guard's eyes to account for him in the pass pro, and he's got him. Anytime you can take one guy to do 2 jobs. Now, again, if this is 26, I don't know if I'm doing this. I'm backing my ass up just a step, because he takes off like this. I got to go. And then I got a rat coming down, or no, it's 1 double. So there is no rat. So I got to be wary of that. All right. Another snap of 1 double. Also, what was interesting to me, I saw a lot, is they flipped their safeties. And what kind of tipped this is 1 double is you watch 6 come over, and he's like, he takes 28, I think 28, I can't really see his numbers, and moves him over.
Yeah.
And he's basically, what they'll do is, I think Chase is the number 2 receiver.
Yes.
So again, 2 is 3. 3's on, 2's off. What are you thinking? He's clearing space for 3. It's the same thing applies. I know I said 1 and 2 earlier. So put him outside leverage of 3. So I can play in breaking routes from him and out breaking routes from him. You could see by his body language, he is not running a route. He is looking to clear space for Chase. So I can dive on this. Now, what I don't like is how he hesitates. 3rd and 5 here. Get your ass up to here and don't back up. Or as soon as he saw his head turn looking, I would have gone right now. Now, again, I'm saying me who can barely get out of bed correctly, but I'm saying like if I'm in it, like there's no reason to kick slide on 3rd and 5 when you're lined up 9 yards off.
Yep.
Right now, that's not a route. I mean, that's just not a route. I think that can be avoided.
Yeah.
All right. Odd mirror, 2-man, my favorite stuff. Odd mirror is I'm trying to break the pocket. The nose will go to one side. The spy will go to the other. Or he'll play the first break so he can go either way. And then somebody has the back, and it's 2-man behind it. You can play any coverage. I did an extensive video on this in the 5.0 package on the same YouTube channel. If you go back, I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd video I did. They break the pocket one way. They try to flush Burrow to his left. So you see this a lot where you get an under here and this guy runs the hoop. So what happens is he steps up, starts to get flushed, and then this guy tries to get the sack from behind. Now they actually come back on him, which is crazy because they got the back coming across. The back's there. I don't know what this is insane. I don't know what's happening right now, but they still get the sack for 4 yards. Let's watch the coverage before I go watch the terribleness that is whatever the fuck just happened. Now this is a bold strategy, Cotton. They must have had some tendency that if he's really close and on the ball, that he's going to go vertical so I can play this outside and trail, but you normally don't want to do this in 2-man. You want to be inside and underneath. That's like rule number 1. Everybody gets on this side gets beat inside. Now, one thing that I think it could be is I'm going to rotate to Chase's side. So really, it's like 3 cloud with man on the backside because the way that both safeties kick this way, which could very well be. This is when you do studies where Chase is. If he's the number 1, what do they do? And you make hit charts when you're scouting. So I'm helping the team this year, and I make a 3rd down hit chart. This is 3rd and 4 in the high red area. So I'm going to make a 3x1 chart, and I'm going to draw every route that was thrown to. So, fade. It'll look like this, like, something like this. And then it'll say like, have arrows on there, and it'll be like 6 times, 3 times, whatever. I like to visualize stuff like this 1 time. And then underneath, it'll be like 11 times or whatever the final count is. And then you'll say, okay. And then when you get to this level, especially if you have a couple years of data, you go back and you look at, because this was game 2 of the season.
Yes.
The Bengals game. So you go back and watch 2021 data. And it's like, okay, what happens when Chase is the 1 in trips? You don't worry about the back a lot of times, especially they use him so much to block. So like, all right, the tight end's at 3, Chase is at 1. What do? Chase is at 2. The tight end's the backside guy. I don't know if they do a lot of that. Then we do this. If Higgins is the backside guy and Chase is 1 to the outside, and then you build your coverage structure off of this. So this is what this tells me is 1, he's back here. Now here's what's interesting. 2 high, it's capped or whatever you want to call it. His reads are almost backwards. Wait, let me make sure he's reading to that side before I say all this shit. Yeah, he's definitely looking at right there.
Yeah.
Looks front side. His reads are inverted. Normally 1 high, right? Like we saw earlier. This is your 1-on-1. Remember I said the play where I was like, oh, he's looking back there. And they're like, actually, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
This is now over the top here, and he knows he's got a fade. That play's dead. These routes are, for those of you who don't know a lot about offense or you've never really studied offense, they're called alerts. And so you'll have a play. Let's see what this play actually is. All right, so this is a Tampa beater. clear, and then here. This is your one high man side. You're going to get the alert on the fade. And then your two high side, you're going to work here to here, or if you want to work low to high because it's short, or however you want to build your shit out. You're going to clear him for the Tampa guy, and then there may be some sort of option route where if he overplays it, I might be able to come back inside. I don't know. I don't know how they're teaching that. He looks over here. This guy's over here to start the. I don't understand why he even looks over there. Because he's late on this, he has to look back over there. Now, by the time he even has a shot to get his eyes back, he's running for his life.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing. Yeah, I was going to say the only thing that I can think of is he's just trying to hold that backside, or I guess the front side safety, so he can hit that dig route. But he never. By the time he gets his eyes back, Mike is in his face. So he holds that look left way too long.
Yeah, but those safeties wouldn't be responsible for those digs. Like in quarters, the 3 would carry the guy out. I guess, well, if it's true quarters, which Dallas doesn't run, where it's poach, where this guy's got 3. I haven't seen them do it. He would take 3 up the pipe, and the front side safety would play 2-1, but they don't even run that coverage that I've seen. Just strange. And again, I'm not a quarterback guru. JT might be sitting in here if he's still here laughing and being like, it's because of this, you dipshit. But I know enough to know that that's a pre-snap alert, and they've got a high safety over the top. Because the one time they lined up in one high, he looked to the front side, and then the one time they lined up at 2 high, he looks backside, and I'm just like, what? Not a great play versus 2-man. Just straight up 2-man. Let's see how good Barr covers this back. He's not bad. Not great, but not.
I think that's a great way to put it. I like Barr's versatility. He gets the job done that he needs to get done. He's not overwhelming, but he's fine. He's actually been a nice addition because it kind of frees up Micah to do a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, got a few plays left. I should have done this earlier, but for those of you who know, I usually save some funk at the end for you guys that stay here and battle out through the whole thing. You guys that stick around and get a little bonus. I know that's not what you're supposed to do as a streamer, but I don't give a shit. I'm not doing this but to have fun. All right. Now we got some Tampa drop stuff. Okay, now here comes the funk. This is interesting. They're in a 5-1 defense right now. So according to PFF and according to, I cross-referenced it with, I can't remember the other one, 5-1-5. This is 3rd and 7, okay? So they load everybody up over here, and they got 2 rushers over here. So this is a real conundrum. I can't see their numbers because of the glare. What the hell's Burrow doing? He's like, looks like he's holding his hand up to take a picture. You got Parsons. I think Lawrence is over here somewhere.
No, I think Lawrence is on the other side.
Okay. Yeah, up top.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You can't see. I'm sorry. I forgot. You can't see my mouse unless I click. So I was pointing here.
Okay.
But I realized you couldn't see it. Now, here's the thing is you got 4 to this side, so they have to slide that way. Here comes the nickel. Now, the problem is he showed it early. So Joe gets the ball out to the tight end in the flat. The corner gets pinned inside, fights to get back outside. Now he's on his heels. First down. Who's the Tampa player here? Let me back up. What is... All right, this is really strange. I have a half player, unless he's supposed to be the half player. Oh, they're trying to cut out here, but the ball gets out. He sees it.
Yeah.
This is a pain in the ass. I personally wouldn't run this blitz. I would have it packaged where if it's 2x2, the nickel's coming. If it's 3x1, somebody else is coming. The backer, the corner, not crossing 2 speed. We ran the wide stinger 5 jam stuff where we would come off the edge, but these guys would sling pre-snap. you're asking too much. I mean, that's a great call. Great job. All right, this is insane. This is either a bust. I don't know what this is, but it looks like 6 men rush and they're playing the 2 under 3 deep, but it's not even. I think it's like 1 under 4 deep. It's strange. Maybe we can figure this out. So you got 6 guys going, running a twist. Wentz gets his face knocked in. But we have let's do the math problem here. He's playing 2. He's playing 2. He's playing Tampa. Oh no, it's man, and so it's the club technique. A lot of people in cover 2 will make it look like man. This is Saban du jour. Play it like here, and then get my head around. It's Tampa 2, but there's nobody in here, and there's nobody in here. Wow, look at this.
And that's on 2nd and 7.
And it's not even 2 minutes. Are they up by a lot of points?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
This is a. I'm gonna put some shit on tape for Sean McVay. This is wild. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this. This is if you're counting the corners as underneath guys, it's either 2 deep, 3 under, or 1 under 4 deep. The 3 deep, 2 under stuff is popular. I've never seen this. Is wild. He gets hit, so it doesn't matter. So this is having a high. You talk about having a high confidence of your rush. I mean, whoo. Because if you pick this up,
yeah.
You got to take out the center so we can't get back. I mean, that's dangerous. It makes more sense now.
And yeah, now we can do that up 15 with 3 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay, so they're checking something here. They get the Abbey look. They're playing quarters here. This is weird. No, it's Tampa. I'm a dumbass. Tampa. The safety's now playing the Tampa. We saw this earlier.
Yeah.
We didn't see it with the across look. You know what I think this was? Remember how I said they need to rush more up the middle? I bet you $1 that if, and we'll have no way of knowing this, that if you could sit with Dan Quinn and talk to him, and you were like, "Hey man, did you just do that because you didn't bring?" Remember I was saying earlier they need to bring more inside pressure.
Yep.
To get them to respect it. Did you just do that to have fun? Yeah. I bet you the answer is yes here. Because that is, I mean, look at this. That's so wild. Sorry, I just thought of that as we went back. That's what's the end zone here. This is so bad. You guys need to come up with a different answer. If you're playing a team that buzzes out almost every play, like get this guy back here. Like this shit's cool if you've got some monster inside backer. Your threat is right there. We're on the same side. I love this. This is what irritates me. All right, so we have dipshit in here. I'm being really mad, but it's not. He's a decent player, okay?
Yeah. He's not a
Let's play a game. Let's play a game called Who's Gonna Rush? Lawrence, Parsons, or LVE. You got to choose 2 out of the 3. Now, there's one snap where he went and this guy dropped. And they suck the back in here. He can't help on anything. And what they do, and what's smart is he basically bowls in here and traps them both inside by design or by luck. Now the back can't get out. He's trying to get out through here, and he just runs right around him. I mean, I don't know, man. Unless they're trying to do that, unless they're like, all right, well, if he makes an inside move, then I'll get him from here. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. Here's another bear mug. Here's another, oh, sorry, bear plug. I put this in. This is 2nd and 10, but this is my favorite blitz. One of my, not my favorite, one of my favorite blitzes. All hell breaks loose because it's play action pass. I'll watch this from the end zone. It's like a screen, play action screen. Tight end's like, I'm done playing for today. Thank you. Boy. Yowza. All right, here's some insane cover zero pressures. There's a couple. And then some 2 fire zones. This is just, we're playing zero. We're going to hit the quarterback before you can get the ball out. They're not insane. I mean, they're just, it's cover zero. Oh, the misery. This is using Parsons as a decoy is good. Well, it's not that he's a decoy, but he's like, oh yeah, you guys want to worry about me? Cool. Like,
they were definitely worried about him.
Yeah. Well, and this is, we talked about the 4-1 where you could turn the 4-1 slide in here with him trying to get out. Now you got to bring him every once in a while, and there it is. Mm-hmm. And every time one of those guys has gone through, it's almost every time it's been good. All right, here's another one. This is low red zone. This is just, now this is mug with single mug. Guy walked up off the edge. Touchdown. This is not great DB play. He work, like, I don't understand this right here. He works outside and you step inside. It's not great, Dan. Oh. Also, if you're gonna run these blitzes, run it. Like, don't do some watered down bullshit. Like, go. Like, this guy's not doing anything. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, he's covering the back.
He's taking the back, yeah.
So line his ass up to the back over here. You know what I mean? And then rush the back.
Yep.
Because with him here, they're going to have to come down. They're going to have to squeeze. They have to go out here. They're going to have to squeeze something down. Maybe that's what they were trying to do. Get them to slide this way. Oh, I don't understand this. All right, here's 3 fire zones. 2 I like, 1 I don't. This is another one that I featured on a video, whip fire zone. So it's not a real fire zone. It's a simulated fire zone. So you're going to blitz here, drop the end, play 3 weak coverage. Nothing fancy. But they dress it up with the mug strong. So they try to get the slide over there to really guarantee the one-on-one with the back. So you got a loaded front. So you have, this is what they do some really cool stuff with their personnel, and I've been really impressed with. So you've got defensive linemen. You've got Lawrence and Parsons on the same side. So they're kind of screwed because it's like, okay, do we slide to the really good people or where everybody's walked up? What do we do? All right. They're going out to the left. Problem. Mixon actually stands in there. Does a good job being stout, but they can't cover it down. Let's watch the wide copy real quick. This is just 3-match coverage. I mean,
yeah,
this is fantastic. This is the Cincinnati Bengals in a fucking nutshell. No, that was Wentz we yelled at. I yelled at. I thought this was Wentz again, and I was going to snap. They're running stick routes, 2nd and 10, and they're running hitches at 5 yards. And then when you get in the 3rd and 8, they're running them 30 yards down the field. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Just, I mean, a standard gets in coverage, make him pull the pin, roll. Last 2 plays.
And on that last rush from not this one, the one before. If they send LVE,
the cover 0.
The cover 0. If they send LVE to that side, I mean, send him to the backside, and then he and Barr can just banjo that if the back releases.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I didn't understand. The only downside of that, though, is that they can maybe slide to this. So with the 3 down here, but you're because they're maybe I don't even know because this is a DB. Like I don't know why they slid that way.
So then you could just have 98 crash inside.
Why not
have
do that?
LVE replace that? Yeah.
If you're Lawrence fucks up, he gets wide. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
All right, here's whip again. They dress it up. They cheat. They don't call it. 1-on-1 on the back. Their routes aren't timing up. Oh no, that's decent. That's decent. Something's off with their passing game. It just seems weird. I don't know. He's like, snap it. The misery. All right, last one. I saved this. I put this to last. So they're running the 5-0 games that we've talked about, and they're playing spot drop 3 fire zone, which I absolutely detest. It's not really spot drop 3. It's not. I'm sorry. That's not fair. They're matching this. All right. All right, I'm going to try to switch back without it freaking out. I'll answer any questions we have, and then we'll say goodnight. All right, how do I do this? Come on, help me out here. The brand, we're going to 2 cameras, and we're going to 2 cameras. No. I don't know what's going on. Screw it. We'll leave it like this. No, you know what? We'll go here. I'm not going to mess around with this. All right. It was pretty fun to watch. A lot of different looks, a lot of different things. Only 4 games for the season. I'm actually interested to see where they're going to be week 17. I mean, they threw a lot of shit out there in only a few weeks.
Yeah. And I wonder if they did that because of Prescott's injury and just trying to hold games down with the defense, but it was definitely fun to watch.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's hard, again, without being in that room, it's really hard to know what the story is there. But it's very interesting to see that much defense played with that many coverage options throughout, 4 weeks. And then all the base stuff they do. I mean, it's very interesting. It's a different philosophy than some of these guys that are going to be like, all right, we're going to do these few things and that's it. So I'm excited to see. I'm going to kind of keep my eye on their 3rd down stuff and throughout the year, and maybe we'll come back at the end of the year and do something again, because it's gonna be fun to watch. I know that.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Night Watch here with a question about the run game and why they've given up chunk yardage.
I'm sad to say I didn't watch a lot of that stuff.
So I have, and I think it's a little bit of both, but they're definitely stunning and doing a lot of defensive line games, and that has caused some of the big runs, because from a success rate standpoint, they're, I think, top 7 in the league in rushing defense, and then from an EPA perspective, they're like 19th. And it's because, they're giving up chunk yards. When they want to sit down and get big and stop the run, they haven't done a terrible job. But part of the big EPA stuff is week 1, when Tampa was just running straight at Trayvon Diggs all day. And Diggs is not a good run defender. And they were getting linemen out there, and he was kind of running away from his assignments. So I think that week 1 matchup was part of the reason why their run defense looks bad. I don't think it's been as bad in the past couple of weeks. And then DJ just making plays with his legs hurt them as well.
You keep seeing DJ, and I keep forgetting you're talking about Daniel Jones. And I'm
like,
yeah. So I'm sorry, I really can't answer that, because again, I mean, I went straight to third down, and then I worked backwards.
Yeah.
I looked at passes that weren't third down. Like a 2 minute and that's like second and long, and then I went and included stuff that was even on 1st and 10. So I don't have a real good grasp on that stuff. I'm gonna trust Dalton's opinion there.
Yeah. Honestly, Barr's been kind of iffy against the run, but
really?
they're asking Barr to do a lot. Yeah.
He came out of college. He was just an edge rusher, right?
He was. Yeah.
Am I thinking of
coming out of college? Yes, but then I mean, in Minnesota, he played a lot of dual role Sam stuff.
He was he in there with Kendricks and those inside pressure? Yeah, okay. I'm thinking of somebody else then. He's a UCLA guy, right?
I'd have to. And now you're making me go back.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Night Watch. I didn't have a better answer
UCLA.
there.
Good callback.
Thank you, Joseph, for the kind words. Really appreciate that. So enjoy tonight's format. Yeah, it's a little different. It's hard. Again, it's hard for me to do this in a single game to really get a flavor for like the concepts, and you have to jump around a bunch. Plus, I think tonight was cool because we had the forced study. But one thing that we lost tonight was the story of the game.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do the Cowboys defense. I did this basically because two things. One, I was supposed to do the Cowboys. I didn't do the Cowboys last year, and they were like really good on defense. And then I was supposed to do it 2 weeks ago, and I had to cancel last minute. So I'm doing, like, I saw they had a good performance. I know it's the Commanders. Sorry, Colin, if you're in here. And I know a lot of people were like, I knew doing just that game was going to be kind of boring. Like, yeah, they beat them because they're better than them. So that's why I was like, why don't I do something more fun? Like, what's everybody talking about? What's the unique thing the Cowboys do is they have a guy and they truly move him around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I didn't get to do because I didn't have the time, again, I do these. This is for fun. I don't work for this isn't like contractually obligated by SB Nation or something. Like, I just do this for fun, and I grab really cool people and beg them to come on and hang out with me for a while. There's no sponsors. There's not this is literally just for fun. So I wish I could donate or not donate, but give, allocate more time to it. But I've been pretty busy this year, busy in the last 2 years. I would have loved to have done this and then broke it down by where Parsons was every snap. That was my goal, but it's hard. I get the games on Monday morning. I got other things going on. If you're on my Patreon, you know what I'm talking about. I'm film library and answering questions. Plus, I'm helping teams this year. And so I did as much as I could to organize it. Like, I only spent about 4 hours watching and combining and doing all that stuff. And I was surprised I got that much down and organized. But I would have loved to have done something where it's like, but I did pay attention when I was watching the clips. I didn't see anything where like, oh, if Parsons here, you're getting this. If Parsons here, you're getting that. There's definitely trends. Or okay, let's talk about this real quick. I know you, and I know you got to go soon, so I don't want to keep you. But like, if he's off the edge, he's usually going to rush, right?
Yeah.
I was actually surprised they moved him around, and they did some stuff where he was the 3 technique, but they moved him around, but it wasn't random. He was an edge guy, and I'm talking about on third down. Now on first and second down, I couldn't tell you where he lines up. I know that the Cowboys, and my quick assessment of them as I watched, I noticed that they got into a lot of bear fronts and they would slide it one way and the other. I don't know how they slid it. I noticed that they were doing it different directions. But again, I was just trying to get all the cool third down stuff when I decided to do this as fast as I could. So I wasn't watching that. But like, as I'm thinking back in my head, like the one thing that I saw them do is they use that spinner concept. The offensive guys call it that, and defensive guys do sometimes too. That's an old Bob Stoops, Brent Venables concept where they had a third down, like a roving 3 technique.
Yeah. But
I didn't notice anything like, if he lines up here, you're getting this, which is good because that shows that they're hiding it. Even some of the obvious stuff, like I said, where LVE's the walked off guy and you got Barr and Parsons on each side, who's going to drop? Most of the times it's LVE.
Yeah.
But Quinn, I think I was kind of torn going back and forth on it during the watching of it. But I think now at the end, I was kind of critical about, hey, you might need to use this guy a little bit more. And then, of course, as soon as I said that, there were a couple snaps of that I'd forgotten about. So, or didn't notice that piece of it.
Yeah.
Because when I do this stuff, I mostly do it for the scheme. I don't, the players are, again, I always talk about X's on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually really, really interested to see where this goes. I'm going to kind of keep an eye on it. And like I said, maybe we do one of these after the season and kind of say, all right, well, this is what we saw, early in the season. How does this evolve? But
yeah,
anyway, go ahead and plug your stuff again, where people can find you before you go. And then give your Twitter handle a shout out.
Yeah. So you can find me at Pro Football Network. I post, I get like one article out a day usually.
That's amazing.
I'm doing their power rankings. So that's always fun. Because everybody's always very happy about where their teams are. I actually stopped ranking them and just put them all in tiers. So that kind of went away, because I mean, half the time when you're doing power rankings, most of the time is me just fretting over who is the 17th best team in the NFL and who's the 18th best team, when they're all, I mean, the middle 20 teams are just 8-8 teams. So, with a little bit of variance here and there.
Well, but, especially in the NFL, where it doesn't matter. It's for fun. Like college, it matters because where they are in the power rankings is where they're going to go at the end of the bowl games. Like, it actually means, like, in terms of where the outcome is. Like, this is for fun in the sense that, like,
exactly.
They don't do power rankings to get in the playoffs. It's your record, So it's like,
exactly.
I can't believe you would rank the Broncos as 19. They're definitely better than the 21st team, and you're like, all right, man, sorry. Like,
that's how it goes. But I mean, that's part of the job. But for PFN, I do most of the X's and O's stuff. That's pretty much all I do at this point, which is fantastic. Because I was doing a lot of grunt work last year. I kind of get to do my own stuff this year, which is nice. So check me out there.
Tell the viewers a little bit, just another 30 seconds or whatever about PFN. If they're not familiar.
So PFN, if you're not familiar about what it is, it started off just as a very small contractor deal, and has grown to where we have about 30 full-time staff in less than 3 years. We are really big on culture, and I know, just if you guys follow Vass, you guys know how he rolls on Twitter, and we are very much a family oriented, I guess it would be the way to put it. We're a tight-knit group, and we are not afraid to go out and talk about things like social issues. We obviously have to be careful about what we say in those, but we don't like to completely shy away from that stuff. But for us, man, we do a little bit of everything. We have some really good NFL reporters. Aaron Wilson has unbelievable inside information, and I don't think he ever sleeps. Adam, our NFL director, is fantastic, but outside of that as well, we have the college stuff. We actually cover college football, not just the NFL draft. So if you guys like college football stuff, we have legitimate college football coverage on top of our NFL draft stuff, which is really what PFN started as, was kind of as a draft thing. And that's actually how I started with them. I used to do draft work. And when this job opening opened up, they offered it to me, and I took it and ran with it because I was tired of, selling a kidney to get college tape. So, I went the NFL route, and it's been nice. I miss doing NFL draft stuff, but I think we're gonna kind of spin things this year to when the NFL season is over. I'm gonna get into draft mode, so I'm happy about that.
That's cool. Thank you for sharing about that, because I know sometimes there's so many different networks and publications, and especially because you starts with Pro Football. There's PFF. There's another one.
Yep,
too.
We're not PFF, and we're not Pro Football Talk. We're definitely not Pro Football Talk.
Man, what happened to that? That when that first came out, I actually interviewed Florio back in 2006 for a class out of Miami.
I think you just kind of get too big, and when you have an ego, you can hide it for a little bit. But once you're big man on campus, you revert to your true self. I think that's kind of what happened with that.
He used to have the most offensive. I don't know if you remember this. It was about 2006. They would have like the most offensive, like I guess now they'd be memes, but at the time they were just funny pictures. I have a bunch of them saved on the computer somewhere. Where like, I mean, it was wild. And he was just like him, and he had like an AOL email address, and then I kind of stopped paying attention for a little bit, and he's like on NBC, and I was like,
Yeah.
And then everybody hates him all of a sudden. Why do people hate him? So I don't know. I haven't seen it that much. What's his deal?
I don't know. I
mean,
think
if you're not allowed to talk about, I mean, if you don't want to talk about a peer or whatever you want to call it, that's fine. I loved him because you got to remember, in my mind, he's still the guy from 2006.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to wake up every day, and that was the first thing my web browser. Remember when that was a cool thing to do? You'd have your homepage set, and it would go to Pro Football Talk.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's a lot of, I guess, speculative stuff at this point, and it's I think a lot of people in the industry, yeah, I think a lot of people in the industry look at Pro Football Talk at this point as like a tabloid. I think that's the way that people kind of look at it now.
But that's how it always was, wasn't it?
I mean, I'm not old enough, respectfully, to remember back to 2006 in high school, because I never looked at it. I didn't know what it was until I really kind of got into the industry in 2018.
Yeah, I was in college and that stuff was out, and it was a lot of fun. Like they were just way different than everyone.
Yeah.
And there was really nothing like it. This is like Facebook era. Like Facebook was starting to get.
That's the MySpace era back then.
No, Facebook had been out, but it was still like restricted to colleges. So all my college friends, we all had Facebook, but like that, like 05, 06, and then MySpace was there too.
Yeah.
And then obviously Facebook exploded after that. Because then you didn't have to have a college email address to get it. But yeah, there was nothing else like it, and it was hilarious. I need to find some of those pictures because some of them were so problematic. And it was fun.
If you find them,
I think
find them, DM them.
I'm gonna look right now while we're talking.
There you go.
Let's see if I can find some old spicy pictures here while we're talking.
And that's the stuff. I mean, when you go back in time to even, I mean, 2012, 13, 14, stuff cannot be said or shown anymore.
Oh no, sure. This is ridiculous. I mean, there were jokes about Ben Roethlisberger, and it was wild. And they had cartoons and stuff. It was wild.
Yeah, see, I never saw that side of
but it was all funny. It was humorous. Everything was funny. And so now it seems like it's just mean-spirited. But not funny.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, doesn't he have like a vendetta against somebody or something? I've heard different things where like people will say, oh, he's got a problem with this and a problem with that. And
I don't know about
like
about
he
that.
He had like axes to grind or something, and that's what was the problem. Is he started like going after certain people and not holding other people to the same. Because Michael David Smith, I think, worked for him.
Yes, he did.
Huh. Now you got me curious. Now I want to know. But anyway, yeah. Now I know what I'm be doing for the next 2 hours is trying to go down a rabbit hole and find this stuff. That's crazy, man. I didn't know I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really like focus on that stuff or think about it. And then I saw his name mentioned somewhere, and people were like, "That guy's a piece of shit." And I was like, "Wait, what? Like, what is going on?" It was like everybody was just like, "I hate that guy."
Yeah, I don't know when that shift happened, but it you're right, it definitely happened. I don't know him. I've never met him, so I don't have any issues with him. But I think I found it. Yeah, I don't want to get in any kind of trouble. I don't want to get him in trouble. I'll look for it and
but I know I had them saved. I had like a folder of just funny shit because I would share it I
With your
would share it
buddies.
back and forth with my friend.
Yep.
And now I'm like, was I being problematic? I hope not. But there was some really funny shit. I wonder if it's on the old archive. The what's it called? The Internet Archives. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Well, here's one. I'm afraid to hold on. All right, I'm gonna try to do this. All right, one sec. Where is it? Can you see that? Can you see that?
No, I'm trying to see what it.
Is it still just on this screen where it's like Inception here?
No, it wasn't. But it's kind of zoomed out.
Let me try and zoom in on this. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
It's like
Yes,
somebody's
I
flicking
can.
someone's off and something's coming out of his ass, and Belichick's got the lighter in his hand. There it is, Pro Football Talk.
Wow.
uh,
God, that's such a young Belichick too.
Yeah, this is like I bet you I could find the picture. So that picture was saved. Where did it go? That was saved on August 4th, 2006 on my computer. It's got it all right here.
It's amazing.
I'm going to have to go through this now and look. Is my screen still shared? I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
No, it's not.
Oh man, that's so good. Yeah, there was some good ones. I had them split too. Like I remember they used to. Oh, here you go. Hold on. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is entertaining for the people that stayed. I'm guessing people aren't leaving. All right, let me try again. I need to open this up on a separate tab. Hold on one sec, because it's like putting this tab up. So let me do a little split screen action here. So apparently somebody said Susie Colbert was thick in the britches. And this was on Pro Football Talk. You can even see the emblem. I'm going to get in trouble for sharing this. I have these saved somewhere in some folder. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can find anything else real fast. Oh, here's Irvin and Tia. I mean, it was just shit like this used to be Pro Football Talk. Right? Like, this is what Pro Football Talk was. They would like an article about Michael Irvin and T.O., and then they'd Photoshop them.
That would be
this is what I remember. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I never saw this version of PFT. That's amazing.
Here you go.
The TO days.
Here's another one. I don't want to go clip. I don't want to, because I haven't looked at this in like 15 years, so I don't want to get anybody in trouble or post something problematic. There's Tuna and Ed Grimley. I mean, that's good, right? That's funny.
Yeah.
Like this is the PFF I remember. This was the bonus hour here. Somebody's gonna screenshot this and tag Florio in it. All right, let me go back real quick and see. I have more. I'm gonna see. I know there was one with Rex Ryan and the toes, but I don't know if it was on here.
That was probably later though. When was the toes thing? That was well after 2006, I think.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
That would have been a good one though.
Some of these I don't know if they're actual. right, this one's good. This has nothing to do with PFF, but my buddy, so it was the year that all the stadiums came to college football. And so my buddy photoshopped up me into, because I used to film up there. I actually filmed on this side, but he filmed a picture of me into the back there. That's pretty good. Nothing to do with, let me see. I'll do one more pass. I'm looking. Yeah, I think that's really it. I know I have more, though. I know I have more saved. I'll have to look. Whoever this was. Nah, I don't want to. Oh, all right. Here's one. Rex Grossman. I remember he posted this. So this was, I guess Grossman was like high at a party in the offseason or whatever, and this was a picture they had. So yeah. The old PFT fun. The Ed Grimley one I like. I'll have to go looking one day. Anyway, it's late. It's like 4 a.m. It's about to be 4 a.m. in Portugal. Thanks for everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Dalton, for coming by. I think that's it. We'll be back next week. I'll let you know. Obviously, won't know until the games happen. But subscribe, turn on the notifications, all that stuff I'm supposed to say, so you don't forget when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. East. And I appreciate you guys sticking around, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Dalton.
Thank you.